What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Town Hall episode number 25. Zoya's back, finally, for good. He is no longer training, and, this week we're going to be talking about artifacts being removed from the game. We have reduced experience from levels 1 to 4. We're going to be bringing on two guests tonight. We have ESV Diamond coming on, and ZPs, which you guys probably know from his stream here on Twitch. He's going to be doing the Kerrigan Deep Dive with us. We got Kubi's questions, maybe. And we're going to talk about, just viewbotting. Just buying bots on your stream. It's a big problem on our subreddit. It's a big problem on Twitch in general. But that being said, Corey, you're sipping your water, so I'm picking you up first. What's up?
That's fair. That's fair. I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Jake? Real quick. Good? Doing good?
I'm good. I'm good. Busy.
Yeah. I had a trip down the Cape this weekend, so I didn't get too much Heroes in. But I did get to see Guardians of the Galaxy. We were talking about that in the pre-show. But other than that, just been trying to catch up, get my Master's Stitches skin. Good times. I know. Don't call me out, please.
All right. Zoya?
Hey,
welcome home.
Thank you. I've missed this show a lot. Training's finally over, though, so I will not be missing an episode, at least for the foreseeable future. I actually kind of like the job, though. It's a nice change of pace. It's not as bad as I thought it would be dealing with customers every day. But yeah, kind of a mind blow though. I was watching WCS America, and they had 20K views for the round of 32. So I didn't realize the game was. I mean, it's dead compared to what it used to be, but
it's floating.
That was kind of an interesting thing to see. Is that it's still got some kick left in it. But that's been kind of my day/week. Watching a bit of StarCraft, which I haven't done since, I don't know, man, it's been so long since I've watched StarCraft. But yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Awesome, man. And Kev, what's up with you, man?
I'm actually pretty upset right now.
Okay.
I came up with the greatest title that could possibly ever exist for this episode, and you just said, just episode 25.
Oh my god.
So, the real title for this episode, which is something I'm starting now, this is happening, this is being enforced on this show, forced onto this show, is the title of this episode is actually Artifacts, They Belong in a Museum.
I like it.
It's a good quote. If you guys don't play Hearthstone, that is what Harrison Jones likes to say when he
That is my favorite battle cry.
It's Indiana Jones, buddy.
It's Harrison Jones.
No, it's Indiana Jones. The whole entire joke is from Indiana Jones.
No,
what?
We get that.
No, that's not true.
Started...
Indiana Jones is based off Harrison Jones.
Yes, clearly.
Yes, thank you, Jake.
Gosh.
Thank you.
Learn your lore. Do you know anything about Blizzard
I'm scowling so hard.
Learn your lore.
Anyways, Harrison Jones is a great guy. I've never heard of this Indiana Jones guy, but, if you want to watch a Hearthstone show, there's a show called Turn 2. Go watch that. We're going to talk about Heroes of the Storm, and, artifacts. They do belong in a museum. They are now removed from the game. Thank God. Thank you, Blizzard. It was really quick. Week and a half, just about. Basically, if you guys aren't up to date with everything, essentially Blizzard announced the artifacts, which are equivalent to the runes that are in League of Legends. They announced it. As soon as they announced it, there was backlash from the community. People came out and were like, wow, this looks awful. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Browder,
Blizzard headquarters.
Yeah, Browder quickly replied saying, hey, look, please just try it first. We've never, this is early in the game. We want to see what happens. And people tried it, and then it was the top several threads on Reddit were just, this sucks. We hate this. We hate this. We hate this. We hate this.
Several threads?
7.
It was the entire front page of
of all time.
threads.
The most upvoted threads of all time. So, and they are now gone. Thoughts? Is anyone surprised that it's gone this early?
I am actually...
Am. Go ahead, guys.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. I kind of am surprised it's gone this early. There were obvious flaws with huge flaws with it, but I kind of enjoyed the impact it had on some of the heroes. The lower tier ones that suddenly became much better. We were seeing every hero was being played. So for that aspect of the artifacts, I do miss because now it's kind of going back to the way it was before in a sense. But the system was terrible. They needed to go.
Yeah. You were early on when Heroes first came out. You played a lot in Nazebo. And I remember, the first day the artifacts came out, you're like, oh my god, Nazebo's broke. Yeah,
he got a huge buff. He's still good because they changed the... I always forget the name of the talent. It's level 4 now. It's the one where you get more magical power when you get a kill.
Oh,
so
right.
he's still better than before. But, yeah, you know, it happened to a lot of heroes. I mean, it was cool to see the effect, but yeah, I mean, it needed to go.
It broke a lot of heroes at the same time. Yeah,
it was such a bad system.
Any other thoughts? I mean, we've talked about this the last.
I mean, we talked about this for a really long time, and I honestly thought it wasn't going to go away this quickly. I thought they were going to make adjustments. Sure. They were going to probably rebalance things, maybe make them flat values, etc. And I mean, the one thing that I always like to do, because I am myself a computer engineer, is to never assume how long something took to program, etc. So I was thinking, you know, it's possible that they spent a lot of time on this and they don't want to just throw it away, so they're going to keep it. Browder actually came out and said that we didn't spend a ton of time on it. We just kind of threw it in there and just kind of just to test the waters. And so it's possible that, you know, they were just like, you know what, we spent like 2 days on this, just throw it away. And it's, yeah, I mean, the backlash was definitely really rough for them, but no publicity is bad publicity. A lot of people definitely started paying attention to Heroes of the Storm, it seems like.
Well, you also said it to me the first day of the artifacts, Kev. When they first day they took it away, I was like, wow, that just kind of looks really bad. And then we talked about it for a bit, and the fact that they're willing to, like, oh, okay, realize this is a mistake, and even just like tweaking it a bit won't fix it, and they're able to retract that instantly, even if it's just the community doesn't like it, but they think it's a good idea. I mean, it just shows that they're willing to, you know, they're not set in their stone like they are set in their ways like other games. They're willing to
right. I mean,
expand that, and that looks good in my opinion.
Agreed 100%. They opened the game up for the alpha really early, and they're really just all the feedback. Like the community comes out in the majority saying, "No, we don't want that," or "Yes, we want it like this." They're listening, I think, 100% of the time, pretty much. So I mean, it feels like as an alpha tester, it feels like we actually like our input is a really relevant thing. I've played a lot of like MMOs where I alpha or beta test, and like I feel like, you know, I'm just bug testing for them. I'm not like actually giving them something that's going to, you know, end up in the final product. I'm just bug testing. But with this, it's like, no, they're like the entire experience, like the community is helping shape what the game will end up being, it seems. So.
And that's exactly why I'm incredibly excited for this game, is that they're giving the community this much power. And maybe it wasn't even just the community. Maybe like the community is even 25% of the weight of what the decision they're going to make is. Right. If that was a sentence in English, I'm not sure. But
it was, got it.
You know, it seems like even if it's 25%, that 25% was like 0% approval rating. It seemed like everybody else, you know, even if it's just that much of the community's weight has on the decision, there's still some weight, and a lot of weight, for it being an alpha, etc. A lot of people are expecting that all these changes are like set in stone, and that's apparently not true. And we're seeing a lot of that with the progression system, the XP trickle, etc. They're really listening to us. It's really making me really hyped and happy for this game so far.
Yeah.
Well, I also like to compare it to Murky. You know, when Murky came out, there was a lot of backlash for him, but it wasn't as much backlash. So they gave it a little bit longer to test the waters, and then they're like, okay, this is a problem, and they completely redesigned him. He's not a backdoor anymore. He's like a team fighter. You know, they want him to be in team fight. So, you know, they do listen, and they will adjust when they feel the right time is here. I mean, we've seen it multiple times, and it makes me feel so good about the game.
I mean, you're absolutely right. A lot of people forget about Murky and the fact that people were saying like he makes the game not fun, and like you said, they did kind of wait it out. They waited to see the meta, and like. It wasn't changing. Yeah, Murky. Once people realized Mule was a good option, you started to see a little less harass, but still, he needed the rework. I mean,
yeah. Once they saw the light, that Mule, the best talent that's ever been given.
Mule.
So here's my question. I mean, Kubi, I don't know if you have any more really to go on about artifacts.
I think you guys pretty much hit the nail on the head there.
But my biggest question now is. They've gotten rid of the Path of the Warrior, Path of the Wizard, etc. But they've also gotten rid of artifacts. How do you guys see this affecting balance, and what characters do you see this affecting the most?
Good question. Well, I mean, they do have those new talents in place. So you can't just say Path of the Wizard is flat out gone, because they do have a few talents that kind of, you know, replace them, that are just like more. It feels like a more meaningful talent that you have to work towards, rather than just like you just happen to get more mana regen, you know, like, or more health regen. Because that's, I mean, Path of the Wizard, legit, it's just flat mana regen.
Okay. I would say it's going to affect the auto attackers the most from the assassin side of things. So like I'm thinking like Raynor is coming to mind. Because yeah, you mentioned that they added those talents in, but those are really like almost like half as effective as Path of the Assassin was. And so people who are really reliant on the auto attacking are definitely going to be hurt a lot. People who are very reliant and have mana problems on the support side, they're going to have big problems. And then the tanks are kind of hurt, but they can deal with it better, in my opinion.
So, well, let's just take a look at, like, you know, Conjurer's Pursuit. Now, you look at Conjurer's Pursuit, and this actually makes, like, so Heroes of the Storm doesn't have last hitting, but it makes globes and denying health globes, like, a new mechanic in the game. Because when you make something like Conjurer's Pursuit, like, a mechanic that is crucial, this Malfurion wants to have as much mana regen as humanly possible, so making sure he maximizes his globes is actually a critical point in being a good player. When you put a mechanic like this in the game, because Malfurion, he needs mana regen. Like, that's pretty much every healer needs mana regen. So this actually increases the skill cap, increases, like, the strategy. Like, you can actually set up ganks based around a globe. Like, we're going to wait for that Malfurion to go for the globe because we know he's going to, and then we're going to gank him. So it creates a new element in the gameplay where Path of the Wizard was just boring. This just kind of mixes up the game a little bit more. I mean, besides the fact of balance, it just adds another element to the entire game, really.
It also adds zoning. Before, you know, zoning wasn't a thing because the range of gaining experience is pretty large. But now you'll see people actually zoning them away so they can't get to the regen globe. You know, it's cute how much that little thing has added to the game a lot. I like it. I mean,
I wonder if you'll start to see tanks running with people that really need the Conjurer's Pursuit. So like with Stitches, I feel like I'm forced to take Regen Master now.
Right.
So I wonder if you'll see like Malfurion and Stitches running lanes together, just so that because the Stitches can go out there pretty risk-free, grab the globe, and Malfurion can sit behind. Now it's something to think about.
Regen Master and Mana Globe put together in one lane, get all the globes.
Yeah, get all the
Could you
globins.
imagine that?
I mean, it makes sense. Right now, I don't know how this scales, really. I mean, comparatively, I don't know if anybody's like done the math, like the breakdown, like as to how quickly you gather globes, efficiently, how it compares to Path of the Wizard. I don't know if it's a nerf or a buff or what. But I definitely see that being like a viable thing to do. Like, this lane like really needs to focus on globes. But honestly, I feel like you're going to be seeing a lot of heroes pick that talent. Because, I mean, in Tier 1 with Malf, I'm always going to take that talent.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I do the same.
Like guaranteed.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. So we see the mana regen changed into a regen globe type thing. We see the health regen changed into a... Well, it wasn't really changed. It was always there. But then the attack is last hitting. Do you guys think that that should be based on the regen globes in some way, just to keep it a little more simplified and not really Dota League of Legends-esque?
I mean, anything that adds more skill to the game I like, so I'm cool with the last hitting one.
So
I like
okay
the last hitting. I mean... It does add like a level of complexity I didn't expect them to add to the game, and I feel like it's just again, this is alpha. They could remove all this, but I actually think it's great. It's just like Kev's not impressed.
I don't like it, and I think CSD put it the best when they introduced it, and he pretty much just said this is exactly what they were saying they were not going to do. They're not going to do what other MOBAs bring in, and I think without last hitting, like it's. The lane mechanics became a lot different. It was a lot more about harassing your opponent. And sure, you can sit there and say, yeah, well, when you bring in last hitting, now you have to put in weights and balances for last hitting creeps or hitting your opponent. But I just like not having to sit in lane because regen globes not only spawn in lane, but they also spawn at objectives. They also spawn in jungle camps. So you don't have to be in lane for those, but having the last hit creeps creates a laning phase. Like you have to be there and do things. For maps like Blackheart's Bay, now you have to. I mean, so yes, different maps should have different talents, but Blackheart's Bay, you're not really sitting in lane for too much. A lot of maps, it shouldn't be enforced that you should be sitting in lane just to make your character as strong as he should be, doing other things.
Now, do you agree? Do you like Corey's suggestion of maybe switching that into a health globe thing that scales similar to the Conjurer's Pursuit and whatnot?
I don't really know. I don't know how I sit really right now with the health globe thing as well. I'm still trying to figure it out because, again, it seems like it's taking away from team fights. Now, if now this is just something really crazy, and I literally just thought about this right now. Say killing an enemy and they would drop a health globe, then that gives you like team fight. You know, you want to be in a team fight because you can get the possible 5 health globes. I don't know, something like that. I think that'd be cool because the objectives, etc., like that should be the focus of the game, not getting health globes and stuff like that.
Well,
and I don't know. I right now I'm kind of jumbled on that. You brought up a really good question, and I'd have to think about it.
Okay.
Well, I want to go back to the Nazebo talent I talked about. I always forget its silly name. I like that one a lot. You know, every time you kill a hero, you get a power.
Voodoo ritual? Is that what it's
No,
called?
that's tier 1.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but isn't that what the trait's called?
Is that what you're talking about?
No. I'm talking about tier 2. It's called Gathering Power. Level 4.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Every time you kill a hero, you gain additional ability power. I think that's a cool way to skill your hero. It keeps the team fight and the team play, kind of focused, as opposed to it won't go back to that farming phase where you got to get the health globes and last hits, and it still gives you something to work for to boost your character. Maybe something like that would be cool.
Just to read off that talent for those of us who are on audio only, those of us, those of you, passively grants 8% ability power. Each hero takedown grants a bonus 2% ability power up to 12%. This bonus ability power is lost on death.
I thought that was up to 20. Did they change that?
I always remember it being 12.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
12.
So you only can stack up to 2 kills?
6.
4. Wait. No.
6.
Each hero
6. Yeah, up to an additional 12. Sorry, I was thinking up to 12%.
It's 20 total. You're right. It's 20
okay.
total.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
it was just the wording on the.
It's confusing.
Yeah, the wording is still
So
check alpha, but the wording of a lot of the talents don't really make a lot of sense.
You get the 8% by default, and then
Yes.
you get 2% for each kill.
I just remember the max being 20. So
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, the tooltips in this game are very frequently incorrect.
Remember that Olin change? Where all it did was change tooltips names?
Yeah, seriously, if you read Rhaegar, it's in their developer insight, they talk about how ancestral healing used to heal for full, and if you look at it now, it just says heals an ally's health to full. It's just great. Thanks, Blizz. But that being said, yeah, those mechanics, a lot better than Path of the Wizard. We need somebody like Squishy to break down those numbers for us to see how it scales, because I'm not good at the maths. But
as half the chat right now is saying math is hard.
math is hard.
Yeah.
Math is hard.
Okay, math when you are on stream it never works. Okay, if you're ever on camera on mic,
that's the rule. You never do math.
it doesn't matter. You could be a math major. You could be a math major, and then this moment you get on camera or something
I'm an engineer and I still mess up math when I'm on stream.
I make pretty pictures for a living, so I don't know. But yeah,
Anyway.
that being said, I think they're really interesting. I actually kind of agree that last hitting does go against the core design of the game. They said they really wanted to avoid doing stuff like that. I enjoy the elements of not having to lane. The laning phase is the most boring part of League of Legends and Dota 2. I always find it just be kind of obnoxious, and again, this is promoting it. So maybe they can figure something out to work with the globes. But I've it's not really something I've seen on Reddit, or I haven't really checked the Blizzard forums to see reactions to that talent at all. But I know a lot of people don't even take it. Honestly, a lot of people seem to just prefer other talents over that talent as it is, just because so frequently you're constantly team fighting and you're needed in those team fights. And staying in lane to get minion kills, yeah, you might get stronger in the long run, but you might also lose a tribute in the process or whatever. So it's kind of, I don't know. It doesn't feel right in a lot of ways.
Can I ask you a question, Jake?
Go ahead.
How often do you check the Blizzard forums?
I
search for the words town hall. And,
okay. Just making
no
sure.
narcissism there.
I was to say a little bit of narcissism.
That's fine. That's about
They'll take it.
And I check our town hall thread on the Blizzard forums. Yo, man, I'm transparent. I do not.
I'll give you that. You are transparent.
I do not care. So yeah, the Blizzard forums rip in pieces. But that being said, cool new talents. I like the health globe mechanics. I think it's a lot of fun, especially because, like I said, there's a lot of cool things that just adds to the elements of gameplay. Because if you miss that globe, that you're losing out on mana regen. It's not game breaking. It's not going to lose you the game, but it also, in the long run, if you fall behind on globes, you become less efficient. yada yada yada.
I like what Kevin mentioned, where you don't have to be laning. There's other ways to get globes.
Right, it's very true.
I'll put some thought into his hero dies. You get a globe thing, which would be kind of interesting.
I mean, health globe.
I will give that.
I don't think it could be a health globe at that point.
No.
I think it has to be something else.
Yeah,
because getting a whole bunch of health globes, like 5 health globes, that's a lot of healing right after you get a team fight or something like that.
do the plant whores globes? Do they count?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They do count.
Well, they're purple.
They're like the purple,
checked
the
yesterday.
purple
Purple,
ones,
yeah. I don't know if they're different.
Purple.
Do they count towards the last hitting towards the talents as well?
That's what I'm asking.
Oh, you said health globe.
The health globe, not the last hitting, as in.
I see. Probably. I'm sure it does. All right, well, I think that kind of covers just the artifact section, which we then segued into the new talents, but they are related. The other thing the change they made was there's still the talent gaining in the game. Like if you guys don't know, levels you need to be level 4 essentially on your account to have all of the talents. Level 2 you get your second heroic, 3 you get advanced talents or basic talents or whatever, and then 4 you get advanced. Essentially, it used to take about anywhere from like 10 to like 14 games, I think, depending on how long your games were, because the XP, and depending on if it's like, you know, XP bonus weekend, whatever. So it took a long time just to unlock a hero's full potential, and it was a big pain in the butt. Now you can do it in about 3 games. I tested it with my girlfriend. She has a new account. She played Nova from 0 to nothing. She played 3 games and she hit level 4. She would, you know, as a new player, she was really baffled as to why she couldn't pick options. She thought it seemed dumb and unintuitive. Like, she doesn't necessarily watch the show. She doesn't play a ton of video. She plays WoW, and she plays a lot of WoW.
She doesn't watch the show?
She does sometimes. She has watched it before for sure. But she's not like super invested in Heroes of the Storm. But, you know, she got the beta and she knows it's a big part of my life, so she wanted to play. And she found Nova. She fell in love with Nova. And, you know, she was just kind of like, it didn't seem like the most intuitive thing to her. She was just like, well, why are they punishing me, like, for like, not being able to do this? I don't know. But, again, it only took 3 games, so it wasn't that bad. You know, after the 3 games, she's like, oh, well, that was fine. Quick hour and you have your stuff. So,
yeah.
You didn't see Corey play with his plug. I saw him put it up on. I saw it on the Twitch stream. It made me laugh.
I wasn't watching.
That's why I laughed in the middle of your story. I wasn't laughing at Jake. I was laughing at the fact that Corey was playing with the plug.
What was I plugging?
Nothing. Just,
you were plugging your girlfriend. Anyway, your life
anyway,
is, Jake.
Let's get back to the discussion. Talent gating. Much better. The only thing that I think is a little bit unintuitive right now with how talent gating is that it takes like 3, maybe 4 games to get to level 4.
And then it gets so worse. It's like exponentially slower to level.
Yeah, so it doesn't really
like...
make a lot of sense there that it takes like about 3 games to get to level 4. Because it's like, oh, I gained 2 levels in 1 game. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much.
And then it just goes...
I'm just a stickler for, and then it's just...
better. It's better.
But, I mean, yeah, it's way better. It's way better.
Yeah.
It should all just be at level 2, to be honest. And 3 games to get to level 2, and then from there.
Honestly...
But I'm just saying, just like, it's just weird to me that in 3 games you get 4 levels. That's what I'm saying.
The curve is weird looking. I agree. The curve is weird.
I have a hunch it's going to be changed again. I feel like it was a really, really easy fix for them to just remove like 250,000 experience or however much it was from the game. Just like, we're going to cut this out of these levels, and then it's fixed temporarily. And I think they'll rework it one more time to make it either scale differently so it feels better, or just like put different things in those slots. Because at the latter levels, you get like a portrait and a mountain, and you get like 2 things on certain levels. Like, why not just spread that out among all the levels, so at each level you get something? You know, maybe you get your portrait at 5 instead of 6, and then you put a mountain at 6, or whatever, you know, whatever the actual thing is. But I don't know. I just feel like this was a quick, easy fix for them. I think that we'll see another change.
I mean,
most certainly.
Blizzard, like every game they've made, their art team is just the best. Why?
Oh God, for sure.
Just little giveaways, like, oh, look, you can change Arthas's crown to be Princess Peach's crown, or something silly like that. Like, Jake.
This kills the Jake.
There's so many different things you could, like, make rewards for leveling. Like,
just color customizable clothing options would just
Yeah,
that would be
just-
enough.
there's-
Like even with small things, it would
Well,
be so
I mean,
easy for them to do. Like, you could change your wrist card.
Right,
to
it's
give
level
red.
on this character, like with the talent, like Malfurion's level 1 talent, he's got the Sentry Ward. Maybe at like level 6 with Malfurion, you can modify that ward to be like something else. Like, there's so
Death Star.
many options.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the first 4 levels are really supposed to be, and the reason they talent gate is not for, I don't think it's really supposed to be for progression. I think it's just to help. They think that that's like the best way to help somebody learn a hero before they can actually do
it's
things.
like it's
And
really
it's-
not
it's not.
necessary.
It
It's not
really is.
necessary. It's
Yeah.
it's if anything, you're taking away from them from being able to like play around with stuff more. It's just like it's not World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, like I said this last week, it's a game where you get a ton of abilities. In this game, like 5 options it's not overwhelming. It really isn't. Like it's pretty simple. Like brief 1-line descriptions, people can get it. Like if people want to experiment, they're gonna pick the one that sounds the most appealing to them, and if they want to experiment more, they will. But there's no reason to restrict them, in my opinion. But I think we've been like hammering away at this a lot the last few weeks. So
yeah, no, I completely agree.
Agreed. On both counts.
well, our next topic. I don't know if our guest is ready.
He is ready. I just had a quick little chat with him.
Okay, good. You're the best.
Diamond.
Senior Patrick, also known as ESV Diamond. We're going to be calling him right now, bringing him onto the show, and we're going to be talking about ESV Diamond. Just posted, I believe, in the past week. He posted a very large post in the subreddit for Heroes of the Storm, talking about a new league, team, and basically everything, and he wants to do all himself. Now, if you don't know the ESV team, they originally did a ton of stuff from the StarCraft 2 community.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody loves and loved them in the StarCraft 2 community. They're not one of those people that come from the community, and the past community is like, you don't want that guy. No, definitely not at all.
No.
Actually, everybody in the StarCraft 2 community is probably going to be a little bit salty that he's moved to Heroes.
As soon as we all saw him posting on Heroes, like we all got excited. Like, that's Diamond. He's interested in this game. Oh man!
The second he posted those stats, like right after he got into the alpha, he basically posted some stats based on like the games he played, and we covered it on our show immediately because we're just like, he's a valued member of any esports community, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Well, let's
So
stop kissing his
Kevo.
butt before he's on. Let's get him on so we can kiss him
Can
in
you throw him in
person.
the call for me? I can't throw people in without screwing things up. Yeah, it's gonna screw things up anyways. Oh, yeah.
I am not Sham 2.
I am definitely not Kubi. I wish I was, but I'm not.
Gosh.
I see you.
Most do. Most do.
You have to actually call him though. So this is that production. So anyway, I'm going to continue on. So just to give a brief overview of what he wants to do, his TLDR is literally, I am looking to put together a Heart of the Swarm league as well as several Heart of the Swarm teams. He keeps calling it HOTS. We'll grill him on that when he gets it. Looking for players and teams to join. So he puts a couple of requirements, which is level 40, nothing less, fluent in English, based in USA or Canada, and able to put in some good quality time practicing. You must have an open mind and be willing to listen to teammates and myself, which means Jake would be excluded because Jake, whenever I give him a criticism, starts flipping out on me.
That's not true. I just
I'm
say I'm better than you.
Kidding, it's a joke.
Okay, so I
So I
posted
just say I'm better
the
than
thread
you.
in the chat,
Well-
so you guys can check it out.
Very good. So welcome, ESV Diamond.
Hello. How's
Hey.
it going, guys?
And before we
Good,
start, is your Twitter ESV Diamond or is there an underscore? What's your Twitter?
Yep, just ESV Diamond.
Glorious.
Nice.
Makes
Um,
it easier.
So we just talked about it a little bit. We talked about like exactly what you're trying to accomplish here. Here's the story. We recapped some of your experience with StarCraft 2 and your basically just history. But now that you're here, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself from your perspective?
Well, I've been in esports, I believe, about 4 years now. I've been a StarCraft player since I was a very young kid. I started playing StarCraft 1 when it came out and always stayed very into the game. I would come to find about 10 years later a forum on a penny arcade that directed me to GOM TV's professional Brood War matches, which to me was crazy. I didn't think anybody even played StarCraft still. It's an old game. And from there I found esports. I got really heavily involved in the StarCraft 2 scene originally, starting in the very early beta. Back when there was no tournaments, there was no prize money, no salaries, none of that stuff. And I went on for a while through most of Wings of Liberty, although I slowed down quite a bit in Heroes of the Storm. In Heart of the Swarm, I hate that those abbreviations match up.
By the way, buddy, just to let you know,
yeah.
you called it HOTS. It's
Yep.
Heroes. No, it's
Yes,
okay.
I'm too
Get it.
used to abbreviating games as just the initials.
Yeah.
So I got real involved in the StarCraft scene. I had a lot of success. I started as just, I had no idea how to broadcast or anything. It's just something I thought sounded fun. And right off the bat, my broadcasts were getting like 1,500, 2,000 viewers, which is crazy. I thought maybe I'd get 1 or 2 people. You know, I thought I would be the only viewer and maybe the co-caster. But, and when StarCraft really took off, I sort of kept up with it. And I was one of the few community organizations that was able to stay and play for a long time and be a contender. I ran a tournament called the Korean Weekly, which is a weekly tournament that with Korean players. Very shocking, I know. And it ended up being quite a big hit. It was able to contend with all the IPL events, MLG, online events. Obviously not their live lands, but their online content. It stayed right on pace with. I thought it was a lot of fun. The viewers definitely did. And during that time, I mentored several players to help them achieve their maximum results. The first one being a young gentleman by the name of Tasia. And he, at the time, was a very good player, but had no fanfare. He had didn't have a lot of confidence in himself, was very nervous, would tense up when the situation got tough. And I started working with him because I just saw an incredible potential in his play. Like when I started watching his replays when he first joined up the league, I was like, oh wow, this guy is doing things that I didn't think I would see for 5 or 10 years. He was doing things like picking out Bane lanes in a crowd while stutter stepping back with Marines, which at that time I literally didn't think was possible.
I've heard of that
And then so I started working with him when he was on Slayers at that point. When he left Slayers, I was fully convinced that Team Liquid would be a perfect environment for him. I talked to the Team Liquid owner, helped get him there, and he went on to become the best StarCraft 2 Terran, arguably of all time, but definitely of the last 3 years straight. Every summer, he just gets to a point where he just stops losing and wins every tournament. I also worked with a player named Crank. He was also on Slayers originally, a 6-time StarCraft 2 champion by the name of MMA that currently plays for Team Acer. Came to me at IPL 4 and asked me to help work with Crank because he was thinking of quitting StarCraft. I immediately started working with him. Went on, he became such a loved community figure that Reddit paid for a trip to MLG for him, where he won the breakout player of the event and caused Total Biscuit to create Axiom eSports to help out players like him. He was so impressed. And that was, I also did a lot of stuff with the map making scene. It's not entirely relevant to the eSports stuff, but the ESV map making team.
Player.
Yep. It was in StarCraft. They were ladder maps. They were used in every tournament across the world. They were some of the best, and we were one of the first map making teams. I knew it was going to be very important to StarCraft 2's development. It was one was the thing that never gained me much fanfare per se, but it was worth it in the end because it made a positive impact in how StarCraft 2 maps grew, I feel.
Absolutely.
ESV Cloud Kingdom, I think, was the first map that StarCraft 2 accepted that was user-created into their ranked ladder system.
Yeah.
It was one of the first. There have been a couple others, but
I think
Blizzard
it was
had
the first,
really...
wasn't it?
It was the first that didn't get modified. What happened with maps back then is Blizzard would get in and tinker with them, and they didn't... They were trying with the best intentions, but they weren't fully sure what they were doing as maps yet, and ended up messing most of them up. But it was the one that just, when everybody looked at it, they're like, this map's great. You could just look at it for a moment, and even if you didn't know much about maps, you're like, this is good stuff. And it was in Wings of Liberty, the first expansion, it is arguably one of the top 2 maps of the entire time. There was Daybreak and Cloud Kingdom, and nothing else, basically.
Cloud Kingdom was in the meta for at least a year.
God, it's such a good
Oh,
map.
yeah, it was
such a good map.
Great map.
It ended up going about 2.5, 3 years before it died out. It even was in Heart of the Swarm on release, I believe. Or it might have been just in the beta. I can't remember for sure.
I remember when we were casting Playhem, the Cloud Kingdom map had the middle, and we
Space Shark! Oh, I forgot about Space Shark!
developed a
Space Shark.
religion around Space Shark.
Yep, the Space Shark was
Blessed
amazing.
be those who walk beneath the Space Shark, for they shall inherit the universe. Amen.
God,
that was
yeah,
what
I
we
forgot
said at the
about
beginning of every single Cloud Kingdom map. So suffice to say, I mean, basically, you have changed the ESV.
You made Kevin our careers, but with that.
You have changed so much of the StarCraft community, and that's why I wanted to bring you onto the show, is because I wanted the people who are now interested in Heroes of the Storm to hear your story, because you have really just completely molded at least 10%, if not 20 to 30 to maybe even 40% of how the StarCraft 2 community even looked throughout your period of doing work for them. Now you've come to Heroes of the Storm. What brings you to Heroes of the Storm? Why not any other community? Why not League of Legends or?
Well, I did look at doing League of Legends for a time. I was playing League of Legends quite a bit. It's the game I sort of got into when I got a little bit burnt out on StarCraft 2. And my best friend, I'm actually at his house right now, was playing it religiously. And a couple other friends I knew were playing it. And I was looking, I'm like, I should try a MOBA. These are starting to get popular. Well, all my friends play League of Legends. I'm going to try that. So I started playing League. I really liked it. I never got really good or anything. I was only in like mid gold, something like that. It's really hard to host League of Legends events. I'd even talked with Riot about them officially working with Sun, and it was still it was really, really difficult. It would have required a lot of financial risk that I don't have the access to take on. The League of Legends scene obviously exploded, and I got on board a little bit late. I started really getting into it at the end of Season 2, and then really, really into it midway through Season 3, where I wanted to work on tournaments. I do only broadcast games that I have some knowledge of, and preferably a good knowledge of. If I want to know if our broadcasts are good, I got to be able to tell. I got to be able to listen for myself and not go, hey, is this guy saying accurate things? I need to be able to just listen. So I didn't really get too into League. We did 1 or 2 tournaments with the Chinese Stars War organization for their league, and that did well. But doing business with China is notoriously difficult, and I don't believe they actually run those tournaments anymore. So I wasn't able to continue that. I sort of just continued playing League. I tried other MOBAs. I tried Infinite Crisis. I tried a couple other things. None of them really, I was like, eh. And then I got an invite in a Murky Patch to Heroes of the Storm. And I haven't wanted to play it.
Wow, Murky Patch sold you. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Wow, that's an interesting thing.
Luckily, I didn't, I was just so new while Murky was so ridiculously broken that,
You didn't know better.
I didn't know better. I'm like, that's just probably part of the game. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, So I got invited near the end of the Murky Patch, probably about 2 or 3 weeks left. We were rushing. Me and my buddies happened to get invited around the same time, and we were all rushing to 40 because we were worried they were going to wipe the server, and we had heard about possibly giving gold bonuses if you reach 40. Turned out that was a little bit unnecessary. But when I started playing, I just really started liking it. It was a MOBA that had its own unique identity, and it does help that I'm familiar with all the characters. I played Warcraft, I played StarCraft, I played Diablo. I know almost every character outside of the book-only characters. I've never read a lot of books of WoW or anything. I didn't play a ton of WoW, but I have gone back and literally read the lore because it was so interesting, and I knew all these characters from Warcraft. So that helped, but it had its own unique identity. It was something a little bit different, and I liked the team and objective focus. Really stood out. The Zagara patch was, I think, a definite improvement, and that's when I started really getting more of the game flow understanding and starting to see it, and luckily that's when Murky was getting toned down. So once that happened, I played it, I'm like, this is good. And before I knew it, I had played 300 games inside a month. I've never played 300 games of anything inside a month, ever. And that's all I wanted to play. I wasn't even playing League of Legends anymore. I've only played 1 game in the last month of League of Legends, and that's so my account won't decay. And like I said, it's just fun. It's a lot more fast-paced. From an eSport perspective, I think it's a lot better for broadcasting with shorter games. You can get a lot more chances to work in things like simply commercial breaks, sponsor ads, things and that such. Also, it's easier for the viewers to not, this game I want to see is on, I need to dedicate an hour in case we get this epic game. You're never going to have to do that with Heroes. 30, 40 minutes maybe. And I have a feeling if it ever starts getting near 40 reliably, that Blizzard would probably step in and do something to tone that down. It doesn't seem like they want it to go that long. I've had 2 40-minute games over all my games, so
Yeah, Garden of Terror is a little bit longer than most games, but it's very uncommon to have a 40-minute game for sure.
Correct. So did help that, like, a lot of times when me and my friends play, we play in person. We're all sitting around. We always have a Saturday night LAN party at my buddy's house where we just play. And, when we play League of Legends, we get 2 or 3 games in a night because, well, this person had to call their girlfriend. Then we got to do this. Then, hey, everybody's going to make food. Okay, now we sat down. We had an hour and 10-minute game. Then we got to go. We're going to go eat. We're going to go do this. Oh, look, we only got 2 or 3 games in there. All losses. Or even if they're all wins, it still wasn't much stuff. Where Heroes, we're getting 10, 15 games a night easy. And that was, taking time between games and we weren't just go, play. We were BSing, going back and forth. We were doing the same thing we were doing before. We were getting a lot more in.
So, I mean, what are you guys actually going to be, like, looking to accomplish, though? Because, I mean, you've done a lot with other games, like you said, but, like, for people that haven't read your Reddit post, what's your, like, real goal with Heroes of the Storm?
The real goal is to help the Heroes of the Storm scene get going. I believe I bring a lot of valuable experience from our StarCraft 2 broadcasting. For those that didn't follow StarCraft 2, there was a very high expectation of production quality to be a premier StarCraft 2 tournament near the end of the Wings of Liberty. You could not simply just take a replay and press play. Nobody would watch it. So we started innovating a lot of things like versus overlays where it shows the 2 players lined up, which, I mean, it's been done in sports and other things, but nobody was doing it at the time in StarCraft. Bringing up overlay for the maps with all the win percentages based on race matchups. We would start we had a real high production barrier that we had to hit to be competitive. And I believe bringing that to Heroes and getting that as the thing that starts it off, like that's our beginning point, will be a great boon versus starting off with guys, with no offense to them, I'm sure that there's plenty of guys that could do this and be great with it, but that would just simply pick up a replay, hit the hide timer button, and hit play. For example, for those that don't know the replay interface in Heroes, where it shows all the champions on top, there's a random diamond in the middle of their faces. It is so annoying. So, like, we'll go through, and for each game, we'll create a custom overlay that covers those up with the pictures. It will be annoying because you can't see the death timers, but if the casters relayed info correct, it's really hard to read death timers with that stupid diamond anyways in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So we'll have to go through and do a lot of production tricks. And then also I hope to, I really want to get involved in the scene heavily. I don't want to be just make a tournament and that's it. Okay, I did my part. I want to be involved in this for years ago. I think this game has a lot of potential. After years of StarCraft 2's frustrations with Blizzard, a lot of the attitude seems to be dead opposite with Heroes of the Storm. A lot of things that really frustrated me about StarCraft 2 that are very hard to deal with Blizzard don't seem to be a problem here. Like, if artifacts were in StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, they would never have been removed. Some system that's that hated, not necessarily artifacts directly. So
Sentries.
Yeah, exactly. Sentries, warp gates. There's a lot of frustrations that they could have changed a long time ago, but they didn't, and they were very stubborn. And it was very frustrating. Like, for the longest time, they would not work with map makers because they were worried about proxy expansions on large maps. And it seems to be that opposite, and I'm really happy with that. There's a lot of communication from Blizzard. They obviously, with the artifacts, showed they're willing to just tear something out if everybody hates it. And to me, that's very promising, and that leads the potential to a much bigger esport in general. I do want to get involved in the esports business end. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing broadcasts, adminning tournaments, things like that. I've done live IPL events. That's what I really like to do. I just have so much fun in esports. It's the only job I got involved in when I was with StarCraft doing it full time. I woke up every day and I couldn't wait to go to work. Even though my computer was 5 feet away and that's all I had to go, that 5 feet, I was like, what did I miss while I was asleep? What's going on? It was just so fun, and I want to do that again. I really want to get with Heroes for long term. And I believe I can help the scene grow in a really positive way. There was a lot of problems at StarCraft 2, the community sort of, even though Blizzard had a couple issues, namely WCS, the community gimped itself here and there across the ways, like setting this huge thing about it's got to be a $10,000 prize pool or nobody cares. So you'll see with this tournament, there'll be zero focus on the prize pool. There's none to start with, but even once we get a prize pool, it'll be like a side note detail somewhere buried in a thing. It'll be more about the competition, more about showing the best players. And also, I believe we can present a lot to player promotion, which right now there is none of. We have the production capabilities to put pictures with names and have customized slides for each player, each team. Be able to sit there and break down, oh, this guy lives here, he loves these champions, he's on this team. We can really do a lot for player promotion. We'll be doing interviews with players and such. And I can help a lot of players with common issues as well from my experience in esports. Like I went to, there was a team I was talking to. I'm like, do you even have a name yet? And relatively popular team. No. We haven't even really wanted to deal with that. It's like, okay, well, I think it's time to get something going. And now they'll have a name, and it's a very interesting one. So I'll wait till I'll let them make it public. But
So then,
I think I know who you're talking about too, which is fun.
my only follow up right now is how many? I guess I have two questions. How many people do you have in the ESV organization right now that are dedicated or going to be dedicated towards Heroes of the Storm? And what is your current timeline for when this league is going to actually start taking flight?
right now we'd have, not including, I'm looking to bring in some teams and put them under the ESV banner, so not including those people because they would be predominantly players. We got about 5 members, and it's all volunteer basis, so I wish it was more. I wish we had a full production team, but there's no sponsors in Heroes of the Storm yet. There's nobody putting out the big bucks to do this, so I'm not the type of person that unfortunately has the financial means to bankroll it myself, so we're doing a very small, very quaint production. But that's how we've always done it. Even when we were doing the Korean Weekly, which was competing with, again, massive operations in MLG and IPL, I think we had like 4 staff at that point. We had a replay admin, a caster that ended up casting solo almost all the time. The StarCraft casters were a bit flaky at that point. Me and the graphics guy.
Was it Katu?
No, Katu is actually very reliable.
Katu was one of the best casters.
No, I meant
of all
the
time.
one that would solo cast all the time. Because he used to cast that league.
No, that was Orb, the guy, the
Okay.
exile of the StarCraft 2 community, unfortunately.
Yes, I remember that.
Actually, both Katu and Orb are now exiled.
Yes, actually,
Yeah.
that's very true.
I don't know why I said now, like that was recent news, even though.
Yeah, you've been exiled today.
And
So-
the news,
Yeah, this, where were we at? Sorry, I got...
and
Katu
what is
for a second.
what is your timeline right now for?
Oh,
for
the timeline. I want to start it soon, and the thing, we're going to stress this a lot during the broadcast, but this game's an alpha in development, and basically our broadcast is going to be an alpha in development. The broadcast is going to be, the first week's going to be rough. I mean, we're going to have some, we'll have some graphics, and it won't be, we'll have standings and stuff, but we're going to keep adding to things as it becomes available. I could sit here and say, well, we'll make all the production material first, but we'd be looking at least like 6 weeks. Maybe 4 to 6 weeks minimum. Instead, I can say we'll get a good enough broadcast that's still going to look very quality, just won't have all the things I'm looking to bring to it, and we can get it run in maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I would love to have this run in 2 weeks. It's largely dependent on our production manager. He does work full-time for live stream.
If you need a
doing their
production
graphic design.
manager, if you need a production manager who frequently forgets to unmute his mic, messes up video cams, and happens to have an ice cream truck driving by all the time at random hours of the night, I happen to know a guy.
Let me rephrase that. Graphics designer. Our graphics designer, he has quite a bit of work on his plate making all these overlays. And like I mentioned, the replays are pretty busted as is. So we're going to have to do work for each specific game. So we're going to have to set some sort of templates ahead of time so he doesn't have to custom make something every single time.
Right.
I would love to have it 2 weeks. I don't know right now. Everything's sort of, we're going as we go. And we got to see about the teams, everything. I would love it if it so happened like in a week or 2, custom games are back and replays, because, man, that would just make this a million times faster. If that happened, I'd probably start like a week later, like right away, just a week for promotion. Realistically, 2 to 3.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Fellow hosts of Town Hall, do you have any other questions?
have a question. So, it hasn't actually been talked about in a long time, since like BlizzCon, but they plan on having the map editor in Heroes of the Storm when the game goes live. Are you guys at all looking toward making maps?
It's definitely a very interesting aspect to me. It's a little bit different than StarCraft 2 maps. The StarCraft 2 maps are they existed. You didn't do specific things to interact with the map. You didn't have to come up with map objectives. But I would be very interested if that drops and looking at seeing what talent's out there and available, because there is a lot of similarities that can be transferred over. It's just more the scripting side of things that would be new. So I would not rule that out at all.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's going to be some really cool community-made maps eventually.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's because there's so much potential because the map can be interactive. Where in StarCraft, the map again just existed; it was there. But now you can creativity can flow as much as they allow within the editor.
And yeah, we don't know what kind of tools. Like for all we know, there's going to be lanes that are going to be destructible. Maybe lanes will change on some maps. Like who knows?
Destructible rocks to get your lanes actually going.
Well, Browder is on this project.
Map, in the Wings of Liberty campaign, that one StarCraft 2 map that had the lava come up. What if you made a Heroes map that was like that? Like every once in a while.
Oh, that was always the biggest request we got for StarCraft 2 maps. And I think Red Bull actually put it in a tournament, a map that did that. And I didn't see how it went, but I've never seen it since.
Jared.
So I'm guessing about as well as I thought it'd go, which was not at all.
It would have to be Molten Core, and Ragnaros would have to voice over for the whole thing. Ragnaros would be the announcer for the map. Oh my god. All right.
No, there could be ideas for something like lava going up in Heroes, because you could have it where certain parts of the map are only accessible when the lava is down, but it would definitely need some very creative thinking to make that work without just making it really weird and awkward.
Cool.
I mean, you covered all my other questions.
Yeah.
So.
Coops?
So yeah, Blizzard has, at least in Heroes history, not been favoring the whole tournament scene just yet. How do you plan on dealing with that?
Well, I mean, the sort of nice part is I've done this so much, I don't necessarily need to interface with Blizzard a ton. I am on great terms with almost everybody in their esports department. And I've talked to several of them on just more informal, hi, how are you? They saw my post, hey, cool. There's no prize pool. There's nothing to get mad about. We are going to make sure. I was just asking one of the guys within Blizzard today if they had the blank art asset for the alpha in development, because I was actually going to put that all over our production. And we're probably still going to put something like that over our production. We're going to make it very well aware this is an alpha game. Every broadcaster is going to hear it. And we're just going to... I see what their vision is for it, and I think if you make the viewers aware, then they can't... I don't see how they could be upset. This is just good for everyone. There's no prize pool, so you don't got to worry... Did Balance screw somebody out of $5,000? There is no $5,000. They didn't get screwed out of it by Balance. Doesn't matter. This is a league just for fun. There's no prizes, nothing on the line besides pride. I don't see how they could have a problem with it. I mean, if they do, almost everybody at Blizzard in their esports department knows how to get a hold of me if they need to.
So you're going to be doing it from replays, since there is no spectator client, and you already addressed how you're going to address the issues in the replay client with the graphics, because again, like you said, the diamonds and the portraits, that's annoying.
Yes.
Who's going to be casting it? And because you have to do that locally, kind of. If you're doing it from replays, it's kind of difficult. You could do it via Skype for sure, but it's hard. I mean, people have experience doing this with StarCraft 2. They had to sync up the replays and play it at the same time, so people are already used to doing this. Is that the plan?
We can just do the simple 3-2-1 go if you have two casters. I always thought that people would hate that, but it turns out nobody cares. Every time we did it, nobody even blinked an eye. So we'll probably, for the start at least, you'll hear the casters count down 3-2-1 go. Welcome to the game, type of thing. We did have one of our good friend of the channels and a good friend of mine made something in StarCraft 2 that could, the second caster could see in real time the in-game timer and displayed it on our screen, so they can dynamically.
Wow. Because didn't Rich make that?
No, it was a gentleman by the name of Drazak, or Drazark. Okay. I haven't said it in a while. I may have pronounced it wrong, but he's just a good friend of mine. He did a lot of stuff with Rich too, and it was sort of like a real-time screen share. And I'm sure that could be implemented into something like this. But I don't believe that it doesn't seem the Heroes replays. There's a problem with StarCraft replays where two people could watch on the same speed at the same time and they would get out of sync somehow.
Yes.
It depended on how fast
and
your
it got-
processor.
Yeah, it could get like extremely bad where somebody was like a full minute behind. So
Yeah.
when we first started doing it, there was always times where like we'd have to pause in the middle of the game, or you'd hear a commentator say, have to tell the other one, "Oh, I'm at 8 minutes 30 seconds," you know. But I've ran a lot of Heroes replays, and I haven't seen anything that would resemble that issue. Although it's really hard to tell, I haven't directly compared it to. Like, it was somewhat noticeable when it was happening in StarCraft 2 replay. You would see actual frame lags and stuff. So we'll have to find that one out on the fly. Again, I'm going to say that the broadcast is going to be in alpha in development too. There's going to be some bugs here or there. But for now, 3, 2, 1, go. Press play. As for who the commentators are, we're going to look for community commentators. I've already talked to a couple fine gentlemen that are interested. And I've always been very big on the community casters thing. It's how we did in StarCraft 2. Everybody needs a place to start, right?
Yep.
So eventually I'm sure we'll find one caster in particular that, yeah, I see one posing over there. I'm sure we'll find one commentator like we found Orb. First we had a caster by name of Railcoon. This goes way back. But he basically...
Oh, Railcoon, I remember him.
Yep.
Yeah, we all do.
And then we ended up moving it when he sort of moved out of the StarCraft 2 commentating. We moved to Orb, and I'm sure we'll have like eventually find our main commentator, if you will, our main voice. But even once we find that person, we'll be rotating out to second with community casters. Off the bat, we'll be working with community casters because as much as I would love to cast a game, I just don't have the voice for it, and I can't say that many interesting things for 6 hours straight. I'll eventually just start repeating myself. So I'll find people to do it that will do a good job, and we'll have to find out. You know, some people are going to step up and they're going to cast today, and you know what? Maybe it doesn't work. But that's how you find out. You got to do it real time, because anybody can send in a casting audition when they've thought about it, they've seen the game a bunch of times, but it's really hard to cast for hours on end, and that's when you see really if somebody's a quality commentator or not.
Cool. Any final thoughts, guys?
Well, I think that's it for me.
All right, ESV, where can people find you, and where can people find out more about the organization as a whole?
Sure. Our Twitch channel is twitch.tv/ESVision. I'm hoping eventually once Justin TV closes down to nab ESV TV, because there's been a Justin TV channel forever that's never been in use, but I can't get. So it's twitch.tv/ESVision. And you can find, mostly what you'll find about the league will be on Reddit or teamliquid.net. I do use teamliquid.net as sort of my home base of operations. We don't have a website currently. It's never been a super big focus for us. I'd rather work on the broadcast. And I've been using Team Liquid for years. I have like 10,000 posts on that site. I know the owners. So I got a little bit of leeway when it comes to advertising, and I definitely take advantage of that. But if you stay tuned to Reddit's Hero of the Storm section, you will definitely see all my posts there. I post everything on Reddit. That's where everybody goes anyways, for most part. I'll probably eventually post the thread on Battle.net, but nobody ever replies those, so I'll do it just to do it, but don't expect much there for updates. And then for me, twitter.com/ESVDiamond. That's where you can follow me. I do have a Facebook. It's facebook.com/IamESVDiamond. I never use it. I highly recommend not liking it at the moment. I'm just not the biggest fan of Facebook.
That meta.
I might eventually, if it ends up being a big thing in the Heroes community, I might start using it. But for now, Twitter is where I do all my random ranting.
You should wait for Facebook to be a big thing overall before you worry about it even being here.
Exactly.
That's true.
I think it's not that big of a deal.
Well, before we kick you off, there is actually another esports announcement in terms of another organization that's doing something different. It's a league, and since we're on the topic, we're not going to announce the name of the website yet. There's a group of people basically putting together a new website. The announcement will be made this Saturday. Now, it'll be announced on Team Empire's website and I think MYI's website as well. But essentially, they're going to be doing they built software to track MMR. So there's going to be a solo queue and a team league, which will happen eventually with an LCS-style league. It's going to have competitive news, competitive forums, a leaderboard, the whole deal. But they're going to be giving their full announcement this Saturday. They just asked us to give the plug for it, so stay tuned. Keep your eyes open for Saturday, because between ESV and between what these guys are doing, esports is ramping up. And spoilers, MLG is really interested in Heroes of the Storm as well. I mean,
how'd you find that out?
With Kevin and I, when you consider that Kevin and I both work there, I think that's pretty much assumed. But you know, that's MLG is very, very much interested in as well. So I mean, Heroes definitely has a very bright future for esports, and we're going to be covering all of that here in Town Hall very regularly. But Saturday, keep your eyes open for their announcement. Definitely keep your eyes open for what ESV Diamond has in mind, because I think we're going to be seeing a lot of shoutcasting and a lot of just content really soon. And we don't know when the Spectator client's going to be out. It could be in 12 months, because, I mean, Hearthstone's been out for quite a while now. They don't have their Spectator client, so who knows when we'll actually get that. But like,
I have a feeling this one will be a lot quicker, because they have the base grounds of StarCraft 2 Observer.
I would hope so.
I feel the same way.
I hope, but who knows?
You never know. Like Kev said to me today, he's like, you never assume when it comes to engineering, is what he said. He's just like, never assume. So it might seem really simple, but they might want to add all kinds of new tools. They might want to, I mean, they're reworking it so that you can watch a game live in the client. Now, they might have to build the whole thing from the ground up to be able to support something like that. Like, I really don't have a clue. So, really exciting with all the esports news. I mean, esports is all I care about in this world. So, I'm stoked. And again, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. It's been a real pleasure. I've been watching the show for a while, so it's a lot of fun to get on here and talk it out with you guys. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. Well,
Thank you, man.
Yep.
Peace.
Have a good day, guys. Bye, everyone.
So let's go to a quick commercial break, and we'll come right back with CPs.
Yeah, dudes, we'll be right back, like Kev said, with it.
All right, am I on? Oh man.
Oh man, indeed, we are back with Town Hall 25, and we have a guest that is not ESV Diamond. I will fix that little box here. What's your Twitter so I can type it in right now?
That's a good question. I think it's ZPS TV, but let me double check. Does she go how often?
Maybe.
I go there to make a tweet a day, and that's it. Like, I stay away from social media aside from that.
Oh, well, you stay away from webcams too. We can see that.
Honestly, I need to stop procrastinating and buy something decent. Just like, well, okay, at some point, and then actually set it up properly.
I've been asking you to get a webcam since like episode 4, man.
I know.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, no, there's a post on Reddit saying, why have you invited? It's like, well, technically you did invite way back when.
Very true. So, for anyone that doesn't know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Oh, okay. Introductions. Well, I guess in short, I stream Heroes of the Storm a lot, and also been playing competitively as of late. You know, basically, we have a team. We're going back and forth on names. It's me, Supra, Syracuse, Cawthon, and Soma. And we've been screwing pretty much every night.
Oh.
And then I do the stream stuff, of course.
Do you have a current team name right now, or are you just still bouncing stuff around?
Team name I think we're bouncing around is maybe just calling it Glorious. Not Team Glorious, not Glorious Gaming, but just Glorious ! Exclamation point.
Glorious! So it would actually be the guy from Diablo 3 that just goes, Glorious!
That is exactly where it came from.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I like you.
That's glorious. That's glorious.
Awesome.
You can, the idea comes from Supra, by the way, so.
Well,
There's actually
he crushed me in a game earlier today, so I'll have to thank him later.
There's actually a Cormac Techno remix from it. Yeah, Supra for the link before it goes. If you want to but it is actually awesome.
get that link in the chat as soon as possible.
We might have a new show intro, guys.
That sounds glorious. I mean, no pun intended, but... All right, well, we are actually going to be doing a Kerrigan Deep Dive. ZPs, you are probably the best Kerrigan. I think that's...
Self-proclaimed best Kerrigan.
Everyone's a self-proclaimed.
You keep randomly putting this on our guests.
No, I would never claim to be that. I mean, I've played a lot of Kerrigan, and actually, as far as competitive play goes, Supra's been playing Kerrigan a lot more than me since I ended up going more into the tank role as of late. And I've been playing a whole ton of Arthas, Diablo, occasionally ETC and Muradin nowadays, but...
You know, you mentioned Diablo, so I'm just going to bring it up. They're fixing Diablo's fires. Kevin is very sad. I say fires because I don't even know the name of the ability.
It's the Flame Stomp's talent Firestorm at level 16 is, as I mentioned last episode, that it can shotgun people down to dead.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Trixler.
So they're fixing that.
Yeah.
Trixler made a post saying that they're looking into fixing it. A fix is going to be out very shortly, I think, so that it basically doesn't do that
ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, as far as that goes, like, that's really not a big deal. I mean, we were running Diablo pretty regularly before he got the Vaporize Someone in One combo build, so, you know, that getting toned down or removed doesn't really affect a whole lot.
No, it just fixes him. He's just no longer broken. He's just now good. So, all right, well, enough about Diablo. Let's talk about Kerrigan. Kev, you know the drill.
Yeah, I do. So Kerrigan is from StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 as well, actually, now that I think about it. I'm just going to shut up. No, so she's the Queen of Blades. She is a melee assassin. Her combat trait is called Assimilation. Gains 10% of damage as shields for a few seconds. Shield amount gained is doubled against heroes. Has a maximum value of 200. That gains 100 per level. Her Q is Ravage on a cooldown of 8 seconds. Leap to a target, dealing 50 plus 20 per level damage. If this kills the target, its cooldown is instantly reset. Her W is Impaling Blades. It's an area of effect attack. The cooldown is 12 seconds. Deals 125 plus 20 damage per level. To enemies within target area, stunning them for 1 second. And then Primal Grasp, her E, is a cone attack with a cooldown of 8 seconds. Pulls enemies within the target area towards you, dealing 50 plus 13 damage per level. Her 2 heroic abilities, she's actually only got 1. The other one is not really much of a heroic, but, you know, we'll consider it. Maelstrom is the awesome one. It's her heroic ability with a cooldown of 120 seconds, deals 50 plus 5 per level damage per second to enemies nearby, lasts for 9 seconds. and her other ability is called Summon Ultralisk. It's got an 80-second cooldown. Summons an Ultralisk that deals 40 plus 8 per level of damage. Attacks splash to nearby enemies for 20 plus 4 damage and lasts for 20 seconds, kind of just going off on a random tangent.
ZPs, how do you feel about Ultralisk?
Ultralisk, not a fan. Just, in general, it's difficult for it to get value, especially in team fights. Like, every now and then you might be in a solo pub, and you'll see someone get value with Ultralisk because, you know, a Kerrigan is somehow fighting, like, one person off in the middle of nowhere, and the Ultralisk is hitting them somehow. And, you know, at times like that, it seems okay. But in team fights, it's difficult for it to get value, especially because, you know, there's so much AoE that goes off in team fights half the time that just ends up getting murdered or not getting to its target to begin with. Whereas Maelstrom, of course, does guaranteed damage and also gives you a bit of shielding, though not as much as it used to give in the past.
Now, I'm going to throw a really random question. This is based off a discussion we had on one of our Zagara episodes. We said, what if you put Ultralisk on Zagara and Maw on Kerrigan?
I mean, it would be interesting. You know, it would make Zagara even more of a, oh god, there's crap attacking me, and it'd give Kerrigan another option. I mean, I'm not sure it'd make her too powerful or not that, because then you'd have the situation where not only can she CC your entire team, but she could also set herself up for her AoE stuff. I mean, it might be decent. It's hard to say.
Pull everybody in with Primal, and then all of a sudden
Oh my god, that'd be so fun.
maul everybody. Yeah, I think it's a little bit too strong. I just didn't actually think about that last time.
That'd be fun, huh?
I like it. I like it. All right, well, let's just hop right in and talk about the talents. Okay.
Before that, I have one question.
Okay.
And that is, how much has the half shielding nerf, how's that affected her? Like, it's
a very good question.
Yeah.
Okay, so the half shielding nerf, it definitely made her weaker, and it certainly made her less friendly in pubs. I mean, there used to be a scenario in pubs where, you know, people who would pick her that wouldn't be able to land combos and, you know, are clearly new to her would still be incredibly obnoxious to kill just by virtue of, you know, her abilities and
around.
yeah, pretty much. So I mean, it sort of killed that part of it, but good players with her are still very, very effective, and she still maintains, you know, her strongest attribute, I think, which is just her ridiculous early game pressure. I mean, she's great throughout the game, but Kerrigan in the early game is a nightmare. It's very easy to be playing against a Kerrigan and end up 2 levels down, you know, by the time you hit level 12 or so, and it's just, she can put you in a hole that's very difficult to come back from when people are playing right.
Yeah, how often are you guys picking Kerrigan in your team fights, scrimmage-wise?
If she's not banned, very often. I mean, she's part of a lot of very good team comps that, you know, rely a lot around, again, you know, early pressure and sort of setting the tempo for your team. Because, you know, case in point, you can combo her with Arthas, you can combo her with Diablo, you can combo her with Tyrande. Basically, anyone that has a good stun or displacement can have a very good effect with Kerrigan, especially if they have any damage. Like, you know, actually one of the stronger comps that we were doing for early game pressure that, you know, was kind of raging people was the Kerrigan Diablo stuff, where, you know, someone could be actually behind their gate, they get Kerrigan pulled to the gate, stunned, and then Diablo swoops in, uses overpower, and knocks them back even further. So it sort of screws with people's perceptions of where they're safe, because, you know, in general in Heroes, it feels like a safe game where you're not getting ganked repeatedly, and, you know, you can usually get out of the ganks. But Kerrigan is one of the few characters in the game that actually secures kills effectively.
It's a good thought. I never actually thought about that.
Yeah, Jared, your mic is broken again.
Oh, I said, you know, it was only her shielding that was really nerfed heavily. You know, her initiation and her lockdown was just still as strong as before. She's still, you know, a great presence in team fights overall. You know, she's just not impossible to kill.
Yeah, she's not necessarily filling out the tank role, say, or this damage soak.
She used to be the every role. Now she's just...
she actually feels like an assassin now. Yeah, not a tank.
She's switchier.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that being said, let's hop right on into the talents. Coob, you got those straw polls ready?
Oh, you know I got it ready.
Oh, you know
it. Yeah, you know it.
You'll notice
They're prepared ages in advance.
God. Production value is actually lowered because we have big locks on the screen, and it just doesn't look pretty because I do not play Kerrigan. Exposed right here live on stream, you'll see that my Kerrigan is not level 4.
ESV, we know that your Kerrigan's not level 4. I don't even want to talk about your Kerrigan performance last night. That was.
I do not tend to lean towards the warriors.
Well, I want to say so far the straw poll is not disappointing me. Now it's starting to disappoint me a little bit. But in general, that people have the general theme of Kerrigan, I think.
Okay.
Kev, why don't you read through our talent options here?
You can't tell me what to do. All right, so level 1, we have a Seasoned Marksman, which grants 1 basic attack damage for every 5 enemies killed with a basic attack. Block periodically reduces the damage received from hero basic attacks by 50%, stores up to 2 charges. Siphoning Impact, Ravage heals you for 5% of your maximum life. Sharpened Blades, Impaling Blades deals 15% more damage. And Sweeping Grasp increases the range of Primal Grasp by 20%.
I'm just going to go ahead and say if you've played with Sweeping Grasp, and then you play without it, you'll miss so many pulls. Like, the 20% is huge, and, I mean, you shouldn't play without it, in my opinion. I think it's just, you have to get it.
1000% agreed. I mean, all of Kerrigan's stuff revolves around getting people in her pool. Like that is the hero, getting people in your pool, and that talent lets you pull people in more. So I mean, it doesn't. I don't know how overpowered some other level 1 talents would have to be to make you not take Sweeping Grasp, but very overpowered to not make you take that talent.
It's a very interesting point because I mean, for the most part, for most assassins, Nova, etc. A lot of it is just dealing more damage. Like, they're just hard damage numbers that you always pick as a talent, and yet this is only a talent that chains into other things. And it allows you eventually to do more combo damage, but I think it's like the only assassin, I mean, at least like off the top of my head that I can think of, that is more of just to set you up for more damage than it is to actually just do more damage straight up.
A good point, but I mean, it's good to have diversity for sure. So that's just good game design, in my opinion.
And again, I want to reemphasize: 20% is huge. Like, if you play without it, you will notice the difference. It's very impactful.
Well, I played without it last night because I'm not level 4 and it sucked.
Wait, hold on. So what did you take?
Hashtag talent gating.
Did you take Seasoned Marksman or did you take Block?
Last night I took Seasoned Marksman.
Game was so bad he doesn't remember.
I ended up grabbing Fury of the Storm, Seasoned Marksman, I think Double Strike. It was like I just started to make the worst possible build ever last night. It was I'll tell you, I really efficiently destroyed those minions, and I got a lot of last hits. So, but no, I don't recommend doing that.
All right. Fair enough.
So actually, this kind of leads into what we were talking about before. ZPs, how do you feel about the Seasoned Marksman talent?
I think so. In general, I'm not a fan of the last hitting game design being thrown in, just because the game, as it is right now, is a game that really incentivizes you not to stay in lane.
Yep.
So to have a talent that's trying to incentivize you to stay in lane is a little bit contradictory.
Yep.
And a lot of the heroes that get it are heroes that don't want to be anywhere near a single lane for most of the game. I mean, Kerrigan, she's best played as a roamer. She's, her escape is bad, but her initiation is great, which means that, you don't want her being in lane and having someone going in on her. You want to be out of lane and going in on someone else. So Kerrigan being in lane is not the greatest thing. So I don't see how you could ever get value out of Seasoned Marksman with her. But other heroes have the same issues, like Zeratul. I mean, you're not really going to want to keep Zeratul in lane for ages. So I don't know. The talent doesn't make sense in some of the heroes that have it.
Fair enough. Agreed. All right, jumping into the second tier, level 4.
Level 4.
I'm sorry, go ahead, guys.
Okay.
I jumped the gun a bit. I'm sorry.
I'm so confused. Okay, so we've got Focused Attack. Every 10 seconds, your next basic attack deals 50% additional damage. Basic attacks reduces cooldown by 1 second. Fury of the Swarm. Basic attack splash for 50% damage around Kerrigan. Clean Kill. If Ravage kills the enemy, it also restores 100% of its mana cost, which is, like 20. Psionic Pulse. After casting Primal Grasp, deal 30 plus 6.5 per level damage over 5 seconds to nearby enemies. And Envenom. Activate to poison an enemy hero, dealing 210 plus 35 per level damage over 6 seconds.
Now, am I the only one that hates the fact that it's called Fury of the Swarm, and there's also Fury of the Storm?
Yeah, I actually got really scared. I was like, "Oh no, did I mess up the straw poll?" Like I was just looking at it,
like,
oh.
come on.
Yeah.
Just call it Rage of the Storm or something. Like,
I'm just gonna say there's sort of a trend with the names that sound really similar within Blizzard as a whole.
That is a good point.
Which is why we now have the call it heroes, not HOTS policy.
Yeah, I know. It's bad.
I'm really curious about this tier for UZP because I know you in the past used to exclusively take Envenom. Are you still just mainly rocking Envenom on Kerrigan, or are you experimenting more with either focus attacks or Fury?
Well, I think so. Here's the interesting thing about Kerrigan is that Envenom is really it goes to our playstyle of roaming and getting kills. It's a thing that will get you a bunch of kills that you otherwise wouldn't get. I do think Fury is more viable than it's probably given credit for at times. I mean, because it goes into the Fury Battle Momentum build, which, as far as I know, unless it got stealth fixed, I mean, I haven't tried it recently, but it stacks positively with Battle Momentum, so if you're in the middle of a creep wave and you attack something, for every unit you attack, it gets 0.5 off your skills, so it can be pretty decent to go Fury and Battle Momentum at times, but in general, just because Kerrigan is so focused on roaming and getting early kills, it's difficult to take Cleave over Envenom in a lot of games. But right. Cleave, I think, is not necessarily terrible. I mean, you can definitely make it work. And then the other stuff in the tier, Sonic Pulse is like, why would you ever take this over Cleave?
Right.
And Focus Attack is whatever. And one interesting thing about Clean Kill is that it was sort of stealth buffed. I don't think it was in the patch notes. Maybe it was. But it used to be a 90% mana restore, and now it's a 100% mana restore. So, in
that
theory,
almost makes me want to pick it.
In theory, you could do some shenanigans where you get a creep wave low, and then you just ravage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish all of them off or something. But yeah, it's probably not worth taking over Envenom unless there's some sort of weird theory crafting thing that can come off that.
Yeah, I used to play with the Fury Battle Momentum as well. I don't know if that's actually been picked. The last time I played Kerrigan, I was running Envenom, so I don't know if that's still in. But as of a month ago, it was. I don't know if they hot fixed it last patch.
Well, looks like we got 80% of people taking Envenom. That seems to be the choice. I would agree. I mean, it just makes sense. You're going for burst.
Bump up that burst damage.
Do the combos and just burn people down really quick.
Now, do you think that plays a little bit too heavy-handed into Kerrigan's incredibly early game presence, because Envenom does seem to fall off later on?
I mean, Envenom, it falls off later on relative to early on, but still, I mean, good damage even later on in the game. It's just you don't always have the greatest targets because you're in the middle of a team fight, and usually if people are dying in a team fight, they're going to be dying with or without Envenom. But, I mean, you still get value of it in the late game. It's just not as in-your-face as when you're doing a 2v2 sort of engagement than 5v5. But it's still good.
Okay. Cool. So let's go on into level 7, aka tier 3. We have Battle Momentum basic attacks reduce ability cooldowns by 0.5 seconds. Adaptation. Ravage can now be used to jump to allies for half the cooldown. Impaling Swarm. Impaling Blades also spawns 2 zerglings at the target location.
I saw that,
Searing
Jake.
attacks. Activate to increase basic attacks damage by 50% for 5 seconds. Each attack costs 20 mana.
Oh god, Jake. I know the surprise that's coming. I saw it.
Just keep talking. Keep talking.
Just keep talking? Okay, so...
this one I'm curious about. I kind of look at it and see the... I don't know. Battle Momentum, yeah, it's good because her ult's very strong, or heroic.
Battle Momentum's great. I was playing with adaptation for a bit. It's, I mean, just having the extra mobility sometimes will save your life when you're bad like me and you have to get out.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that was the only other one.
Oh, jeez, guys.
All right, so let's hear it. What's the scoop?
Oh, well, you're going through this. This is actually an interesting tier. I think adaptation might be getting slept on a little bit now. Super is the first one to bring it up, but it's actually not bad. Like, there's a lot of times where, so right now you get rewind earlier in the game. You can do cool stuff with Kerrigan with adaptation where, say you ravage into an engagement, do your combo, rewind, do your combo, but things are going bad. You can actually ravage back out with adaptation. And it gets more use than you'd think. In general, this tier has been probably one of the more volatile tiers for Kerrigan overall. In the sense that it's changed a lot in terms of which talent you want to go. I mean, for a time, Searing Attacks was way better than everything else because the Zerglings were kind of not great, and also you didn't need them to solo Ogres or anything because you could just dodge the Ogres. And then Impaling Swarm went up a lot in value because, Zerglings can be used to take Mercs, and they were better. And Battle Momentum, of course, has always kind of been there. It's never been bad, and it, of course, has really positive synergy with the Cleave, but, at times it feels like you can get value from other stuff. I don't think... Interesting that Searing Attacks, I think it's better in pubs than it is in real games. Like, there's definitely times where you can... Well, pubs just kind of lend themselves more to skirmishing and, one-on-one fights and that sort of stuff. And, every now and then if you're, say, auto-attacking another hero, like maybe a melee hero like a Zeratul or whatever you might be attacking, you can get value out of it from time to time. I think in general, though, you'd probably be better served with Adaptation or Pilling Swarm with how stuff goes now. And again, Melamem isn't bad either. It's just, I don't know, it's just evolving here in general.
About Searing Attacks, question. When you pop that, does that scale better with Assimilation?
Does that scale better as in the shield?
Yes, does the shield gain, like, is it, well, does it take into the fact that the damage bonus you're getting from Searing Attacks?
Yeah, I believe so. It's still giving you 10% of the increased melee attacks, but it's still pretty negligible overall. You're not getting a ton from physical attacks.
Right.
Assimilation gets most of its bread and butter from like, oh, I just hit an entire creep wave with my stuff, and I got shields from all of it. And back when it was 20% base, that's where Kerrigan's like, oh my god, that Kerrigan has 1,500 extra HP.
Or a 5-person Maelstrom, and then you have double your health, stuff like that.
Good times. Maybe not.
Well, we can look at the poll here. Battle momentum 54% of the time, 27% for adaptation, and yeah, it seems a little bit split here.
Not surprised to see that.
I remember when battle momentum was never actually taken on any of the heroes, and I've been seeing it a lot more. I've actually, before the artifact patch, I was just pretty taking it on absolutely everybody, because I remember at one point it was just one of those talents that I just never taken before, and I just kind of thought, I was like, yeah, maybe this could be pretty good.
Didn't battle momentum get nerfed? Wasn't it better at one point?
I don't think so.
I don't think battle momentum ever got nerfed. I think it's always been.
I'm thinking focus attack. I'm mixing.
Yeah, focus attack.
And on that note, rip focus attacks. That tells us to be so good.
And now it's not so much. But battle momentum, I've been taking on a lot of different heroes, and it's good to see that's actually starting to get a lot of use out of a lot of people. But cool. Anyway.
That being said, moving on to level 10 now. I think a lot of us go with the first option here, but a few
I'm gonna rock some Trick Slayer hype. Ultralisk.
So Ultralisk go. Can you do that for the stream again, Zoya?
Can you not disparage Trick Slayer? I mean, he is the god of Illidan and plays no other hero.
Not Trick Slayer doesn't support Ultralisk in any way or fashion.
Not promoted.
I can say that Ultralisk has 2 votes right now out of a total of 17.
Whoa.
It's just getting worse and worse for Ultralisk. Oh, 3 votes. Oh. 4 out of 21.
Wow.
In fact, one of them just got taken away from Maelstrom.
Whoa.
I feel like I'm in the green party right now, and I'm just hoping for each of those small little votes. And it's more irony than anything else that green party actually starts getting some percentage.
6 votes for the Ultralisk. Well, 6 people need to learn Maelstrom more because Ultralisk is genuinely just kind of bad.
Well, let's go over why it's bad. And
yeah, that's why I was going to ask him what you would like to see changed about Ultralisk that might actually lend you to pick it more.
Targetable. You can target what it actually goes after.
Controllable is what you mean to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, two things. Being able to retarget its pathing midway through. I mean, the code is already there. You do it with Tychus's laser. Just put whatever's on the Tychus laser for retargeting and let you retarget with the Ultralisk. That'd be number 1. And then number 2 is maybe increase its speed and damage a little bit. I think that might work. Oh, sorry, speed, not its damage, speed and health is what I meant to say.
Okay.
And Rip Zoya. He's pinching his nose over in the corner of his webcam there. But
those thunderstorms.
What those thunderstorms?
What if just mine that went out, or was it everybody?
Just you.
Just you.
Rip City.
Just you. Oh man! And now your picture. That picture.
I always forget it. I always forget that's it. Whenever it comes up on stream, I laugh because I forget that I haven't changed it.
Sham. Well, you shouldn't change it because it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
What if they gave Ultralisk a passive charge that had a 1 second stun that it would do periodically?
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, giving it a secondary effect to its attacks could work too. I mean, or they already have crippling type things in the game. What if getting hit by an Ultralisk quote crushed you and you took 15% more damage after when the Ultra was on you? That sort of stuff could be interesting. Maybe overpowered, what I just suggested, but something along those lines could definitely work.
Oh my God, Ultralisk is actually contesting Maelstrom right now.
Scares me.
Ralph Nader, run for president right now.
Trollskalisk. All right, well, let's just... I don't think there's anything else we have to say. Any final comments on the Ultra?
let's also go over why Maelstrom is.
Yeah, sure. Good point.
So,
And
we
who
want
wants
me to do it?
Wait, were you asking?
Volunteered.
Well,
I didn't know.
why is Maelstrom such a clear choice? Let's have ZP do it because I don't trust Zoloff in his.
That's cold.
I've heard.
It's a lot of damage that's guaranteed, and also interacts positively with your shield mechanic. I mean, it just straight up extra damage. That's good, and you don't have to worry about flying off to some other random person. You don't have to worry about dying in 2 seconds. It's it's going to work. It's going to give you survivability. It's going to give you extra damage. It's and it's going to hit multiple people in a lot of cases. So
It just fits her kit perfectly. It's just designed for her kit. Everything about it is perfect for it.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to level 13. Kevo?
Sure thing. So double strike. When your basic abilities damage an enemy, your next basic attack hits for 50% extra damage. Eviscerate. Increases the range of Ravage by 25%. Lingering Essence. Assimilation shield duration increased to 12 seconds. Rewind. Activate to reduce the cooldown of your basic abilities by 10 seconds. And Sprint. Activate to gain 75% move speed for 3 seconds.
I used to rock Sprint, but now I mainly go Eviscerate. I haven't played too much with Lingering Essence, though, so I don't know really.
Rewind would be the
wait, Rewind.
Yeah, I would think Rewind.
Yeah, Rewind actually is now in this tier. It competes with Sprint now.
Yeah. Which...
I mean, the
I'm
double
just saying, she's
combo.
so ability based.
Yeah,
I would
she
think
is.
that getting more abilities out would be the way to go. But
well, her power is entirely centered around her QWE combination.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the bulk of her power. I mean, the ultimate is nice, but it's not. You don't pick Kerrigan and go, oh man, the ultimate, like say some other a lot of the ranged DPS heroes, where it's like, oh god, Tychus just activated the Odin, run and hide. Whereas with Kerrigan, it's more a lot of her power is just based on her base QWE. So being able to use that base ability twice in a row. I don't see how you beat that, especially because if you do land a good initial pull, you're almost guaranteed to get the second initial pull, and at that point, if you have any follow-up whatsoever, the other team is pretty much screwed at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great point.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it looks like the view. I mean, this is actually probably one of the most split pulls we've ever seen. It's kind of all over the place. If you look at it on the screen here for the audio listeners, we get 10 votes for Rewind, but everything else has either 4 and Lingering Essence has 2. I can't say Lingering Essence for some reason. There we go. Said it properly. I think Rewind across the board. Jared, would you change your mind after thinking about it more? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been so long since I've played Kerrigan that. But yeah, that makes perfect sense.
any of these other talents notable? Let's see.
Not really.
I mean, Sprint
yeah.
Sprint was always a mainstay for me back when Rewind was at 16. I mean, Sprint is, Sprint. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's just
Yep.
you're set.
You're
getting the extra mobility and escapability at the cost of, drastically buffing her main kit. So I think it's very hard to justify going Sprint. I do think maybe in some universe in terms of like against certain hero comps that might be focusing on Kerrigan, maybe there's some situation where Sprint perfectly counters it and saves Kerrigan and suddenly it's worth taking, or Rewind in very niche situations. I don't know what those would be offhand, but the possibility is there. So throwing that out there.
Yeah, definitely. All right, level 16.
All right, at level 16 we have Executioner. Basic attacks deal 40% more damage against slowed, rooted, or stunned targets. Blade Torrent. Impaling blade radius increased by 50%. Aggressive defense. Assimilation shields earned from basic abilities are increased by 100%. Blood for blood. Activate to steal 15% of target enemy's max health and slow its movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. And finally, Overdrive. Activate to increase ability power by 25% and mana cost by 40% for 5 seconds.
I mean, personally, I've always been torn between Overdrive and Blade Torrent. Most of the time, though, I go with Overdrive. It just depends on what their comp is. Their increased radius on Blade Torrent is really good. I mean, 50% is huge, but if you're able to just land your combo, you should be able to stun most of them anyway. It just depends on who they are. If they have a lot of mobility, if they're able to tumble away, sometimes Blade Torrent's really nice to hit them as they're trying to get away.
Yeah, I'm thinking Overdrive's probably, especially because it combos so well with the rewind.
This is an interesting tier in general. I think that in a comp game type of thing, where just making sure the stun hits as many people as possible is generally more valuable than Kerrigan's damage, because ideally you have other damage dealers there, right? That are competent, are going to be damaged if you land a good stun. So, but here's the trick: is that most people are not going to be playing in those high-end games where you have a top level Tychus Valor, something behind that's just ready to blow people up. So
Absolutely.
in pubs, I think Overdrive and aggressive defense, for that matter, because pubs you get stuck with no supports half the time, as well. I think Overdrive and aggressive defense are both like decent in pubs depending on the situation.
But in your pre-mage, you always take the increased radius?
Just about, yeah. Because the other thing, too, there is that sometimes the fights, there might be a fight and then, it'll back off for a moment, but there will still be another fight before you can go back to base. And Overdrive also has the kind of nasty side effect of, destroying your mana. And Kerrigan isn't, mana rich to begin with. I mean, Overdrive, don't get me wrong, by no means is Overdrive bad. I just think that in the comp environment, Blade Torrent is more likely to do what you're picking Kerrigan for in a lot of cases than Overdrive is. But in pubs, I think you can really make a very strong case for Overdrive being better in a lot of cases, because you're not going to get the follow-up in pubs that you get in other games. And same thing with aggressive defense. You don't get the support in pubs that you might get in other games.
See, the only thing that really kind of drives me away is if you get rewind in the earlier, I feel like that's going to be so much mana that's going to be gone, because you're going to be spending all of your abilities very quickly, as well as they're going to cost 40% more. I think the sooner thing that I'd go for in a pub game would be Blood for Blood, would it not? Because you're going to be in the middle of at least 1 to 2 different people.
Yeah, but if you already have rewind on her pull, I don't know if you really need Blood for Blood.
Yeah, I don't know if Blood for Blood really... Personally, when I look at her kit, I don't really see Blood for Blood fitting too well with it.
I mean, I would rather get Blade Torrent from Blood for Blood. I can see the appeal of Overdrive for sure. And I think I'd probably grab Overdrive in pubs.
Kev, I'm so disappointed in you. No. You said, I don't know what drives me away, and you were talking about Overdrive, and you
Oh my god. The missed pun. The missed pun.
The obvious pun has been missed.
Kev, you're off the show.
Not Blood for Blood, just to throw up a situational use for it, by the way. I mean, in general, I don't think I've ever taken a Blood for Blood and Kerrigan this patch or otherwise, but just something that occurs to me is that, again, in more of a pub-centric focus, if you're in a game and you know that they have a really good tank on the other team and the other players aren't as good, and you just you have the mindset of, okay, if I kill this tank, the other team's gonna crumple because he's carrying them, or otherwise, like you have an all-star Arthas on the other team or something. Maybe you can convince yourself to take Blood for Blood there, just because it's going to do a lot of damage to the Arthas, when you leap in, and might be the little bit that pushes him over in the death. Just something to consider.
Yeah, it was just a thought. I mean, to be honest, I don't really play Kerrigan too much, but I was just figuring it out, just looking at the kit. But okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't think many of us play a lot of Kerrigan, which is why we have ZPs to teach us the way. And because we are the Kara Scrubs, I think I liked my level 1 build. It was really fun and really bad, and I slayed those minions really well, and I fed really well. We won that game. Maybe? No, we didn't. Okay.
I don't think we did.
All right, level 20. Level 20.
Segue into level 20. We've got Fury of the Storm. Basic attacks bounce twice to nearby enemies for 50% damage. Bolt of the Storm. Activate to teleport to target location. Omega Storm, which is almost like Omega Black Mage, but less cool. Maelstrom size increased by 25%. Amount of assimilation shields generated by Maelstrom increased by 100%. And Torosk. Ultralisk duration and health increased by 100%.
That is a weird word.
Well, it goes back to reference of like the old StarCraft 1 Ultralisk hero unit thing. I think it's just a old carryover from that.
Damn.
Boom!
Which, when I was a kid, used to call it Torosque.
Torosque. Like when you pronounce QU, like Quewe. That's the way kids do it. Oh, I gotta get in the Quewe.
I mean, let's be real. Omega Storm is it's too good. You would want to make an argument for Bolt, but
I can.
She wouldn't want to be that far away from the rest of her team.
Well,
after getting the stun.
Oh yeah, I mean.
So it's like you could jump at somebody and get an initiate, but then the rest of your team's got to catch up.
Yeah,
so
it's
that's
like
probably what would drive you away from taking that.
Like with her Q, Bolt is isn't as necessary. From what I would think. I mean, again, I'm the carrot scrub, but.
So now we have a point of contention. Bolt of the Storm is awesome for a lot of reasons in a lot of situations.
Cool.
Particularly when you're trying to catch people off guard. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kerrigan usually isn't the primary initiator in a lot of these games, but Bolt is just very, very multi-purpose. It can not only save her when people are focusing stuff on her, it can disjoint crap, like, say, if there's a Tyrael in the game. There was a scrim we won recently where, I think a big part is that Supra ended up disjointing Tyrael's ult by using Bolt of the Storm. So, I mean, there's a lot of targeted effects that you can actually screw with Bolt of the Storm. But more than anything else, it's an all-purpose escape if people commit on Kerrigan too hard. And it's also very good for surprise initiation if people, are a little bit... They're back, but they're not all set. Kerrigan can blink Ravage to set people up, or, just blink and raw stun combo as well because it's less telegraphed and easier to hit people with. Because people, when they're dealing with Kerrigan, they key in very much to the leap. They don't key in nearly as much to a blink, and the blink is a lot less obvious in terms of, where's the Kerrigan? So if a team is grouped up and you just sort of blink to the side and do your combo, your odds of landing a very good combo at the end are actually generally pretty, or a decent bit higher than if you were using Ravage. And Omega Storm, I mean, it has its purpose. Although for me it's more of a pub talent if I feel like, I don't have any support, maybe I'm just going to have to Kerrigan tank it up. But Bolt is very good.
Okay. For
a lot of reasons.
Absolutely. Would you... You said it's more of a pub talent. Would you prefer, would you think that it would be better for pubs just going Omega Storm, or do you think that this Blink over, Bolt of the Storm rather, overall is, do you think it would be good for pubs as well?
I mean, it just depends on the situation and what you're dealing with. I think that in pubs, again, you sort of have this weird thing in pubs where the matchmaker loves torturing you by, putting people, or not putting people, but putting you on teams that don't have any support. So you sort of have to do patchwork modifications to get something that's workable and decent. So it's a judgment call, sort of based on what's going on in the game and whatnot. But I think Bolt is just very good in general.
Cool. Very good.
Well, I think I learned a lot about Kerrigan, and I'm actually... I don't know how soon I'll try her again.
You're actually going to go try and get all of her first and second talents because they're still gated? Hey, noob?
Well, I'll do that, yeah, sure, but I don't know. Melee aren't appealing to me.
You won't play Kerrigan. It's not going to happen.
Melee's not appealing to you, but you're Jake. You put together Melee tournaments.
All right. Melee Heroes. God. Melee Heroes. Smash Brothers is great. Melee Heroes, not my style. I like the back lines, healing lines. Actually, I play Rhaegar. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, I mean, any final closing thoughts on Kerrigan? I mean, I think that was a very insightful segment for sure. That's what the deep dive is. Every week we learn a lot about heroes. Sometimes we're given the info. Sometimes we've got guys like LZ and ZPs giving us the truth, the facts about these guys and how to play them to their, highest capability, essentially. But
I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess the one thing about Kerrigan that I try and emphasize is that it's a very deep and complex hero. I mean, I think people look at the hero and think, okay, so I'm playing this hero, I'm going to land my combo, or, I've mastered landing the combo, now I've, learned Kerrigan. And it goes a lot deeper than that. And comp games, there's a very... Decision-making on her is key. It's very easy to go in the wrong time and just get stomped. And good players know how to interrupt her combo. They know how to zone her and space her. Playing a good Kerrigan in a comp game is, trying to find the perfect moment to go in and take it. And finding that moment isn't always easy, and good teams are going to be doing their best to stop you from finding that moment. So game sense and decision-making with her are very much paramount, especially when you start mixing in movement abilities, and rewind and all of that. It's a lot to balance and, to actually use correctly. On top, of course, just coordinating with your own team and saying, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and, Y moment and whatnot.
I would also like to add that, you almost never see Kerrigan anymore, especially in solo games, ever since the nerf. And, I mean, she went from, the CSD tournament, she was either picked or banned 100% of the games, and even, when we first started doing the scrims and started, playing just, everyone started actually wanting to compete. Kerrigan was always wanting to be picked.
Yep.
And Yeah, she got nerfed.
She was considered the best in the game.
She was by far top tier. She was by far she was the god tier.
It was like her and
just
Reina.
Because she got significantly nerfed, but that doesn't mean she's not good anymore. I would really like to urge everyone to play Kerrigan some more because she's still very, very good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, her real power. I mean, her tankiness went down a lot, but what made her really good to begin with is still there. I just think in general is sort of a combination of why people are playing her less is that, again, it is actually really difficult to play her in those higher-end comp situations, number one. But number two is that people also got more comfortable using some of the heroes that weren't super in favor for a while. Like, Diablo, for example, is really good at zoning Kerrigan out. It's annoying to deal with him. Tank play in general, I think, has evolved a lot, and good tank play makes doing Kerrigan stuff harder. So, if you're disrupting the Kerrigan in good ways, you make her job harder, and it makes... But, if she can find the right moments to go in, it works out really well for her. So, depends on the skill of the players involved and the team comps and a lot of other variables.
Cool. Any final thoughts before that chair eats someone?
No, I would agree. I feel as though she's quite difficult in the sense that because she has no escapes, and you really need to know how to initiate at that right time. Not necessarily be the initiator for your team, but how to bring out the combo at the right time. It's certainly a learned skill, and I think that makes her a bit tricky.
She's definitely one of the more mechanical ones, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that does it for our Kerrigan segment. ZPs, why don't you give your shout-outs as to where people can find you, follow you. I know you said you hate your Twitter, but plug away.
All right, so plugging away, I do have a Twitter. I basically just use to say, hey, guys, I'm streaming XYZ. It's a Twitter, ZPS TV. Of course, I stream Heroes pretty much every day from at least 9 to 5 Eastern most days. If I'm not streaming at that time, I'll have a notice saying, hey, I'm getting on at X time instead. Twitch ZP_TV. Sure, but a lot of people listening have seen the stream at one point or another. I've been on for way too long now. It's actually, so the beta started back in March, and I think it came out on Thursday, and I started streaming on the Tuesday after that Thursday. Not quite as hard as I've been streaming recently, but I've pretty much been going for a really long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you on every day. I try to catch at least 10 to 20 minutes at least, and maybe.
I thought you were about to say 10 to 20 games. I was like,
10 to 20
Well,
games.
it's-
Not much. Just 10 to 20
I'm
games.
just there all day. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Blizzard has taken notice. They gave you a little shout out on the last.
Oh yeah, that shout huge
That was
shout
pretty
out
cool
to
of
the CM
them.
team for that. Like, I was not expecting. I was like,
And you
holy
got
crap.
like a goodie box or something, right?
Yep.
Yeah, goodie. I got a shout out and a goodie box.
That's pretty
awesome.
cool.
And honestly, the stuff inside was cool, and the poster was really high quality. But the box itself is actually awesome. Like the box is actually really high quality.
You know what would be really cool? Like if you had a webcam and you could show us the stuff you had. God, that'd be so sick.
Yeah.
I kind of like the picture.
I'll go down that at some point.
I kind of like the picture right now.
The picture also works though.
The picture does work. The picture does work. Well, while we still have you, we actually had the discussion in our show notes. We're actually going to talk about, since you're here and since you're a streamer on Twitch, we wanted to talk about, I was going to say ice botting, but just viewbotting on Twitch and how that, it's a thing and no one can deny it.
It is a thing.
Like people are botting, and as someone who does not bot, and does stream a lot out of the day, is it discouraging? Give me your thoughts on it.
Oh, it's absolutely discouraging. If I said anything other than say it wasn't discouraging, I'd be lying. But the thing is, for streamers, it impacts me less than it's been impacting other people. I mean, huge shout-outs to streamers like Nick, Soldier, and Dunk that have been streaming for ages that are more impacted by the current shenanigans that overlap on their stream times. I know Soldier in particular has taken a pretty big drop in his numbers since he was going pretty hard at times where I wasn't going and all the rest. I mean, what can you do? People have tried to report everything through the normal channels and just kind of deal with it as you go. I know the /host command has been really effective though, and at least sending people to streams where people have been streaming for a really long time and doing things by the book. So that part of it at the very least helps out. But yeah, it's discouraging.
Has Twitch said anything about this officially or no? Is it not?
I don't think there's been an official thing. I mean, I wouldn't know where you would get an official response from that sort of thing. The base problem with all of it is that in the end, there's no way of actually proving that that the stream is doing it to
But
themselves.
when you
Short
see,
of
when you
like,
see the numbers jump as severely as they do, it's really suspicious. Like, we don't have any true, you know,
We know he's botting. What he's saying is we don't know if he's the one paying for the
True.
bot. If someone started botting my channel and then I got banned, even though I wasn't the one paying for the bots, that's what people have to figure out.
Right,
is
right.
That's very
Who's the
true.
one paying for the bots?
correct. But and then here's the thing where this is the logic as to why people get upset about it, and you know, you put two and two together, you know, make your own conclusions. You can't prove that one person is doing it. But when the bots enter a channel, as soon as it comes online, and the channel wasn't on top at any point ever until it started getting botted. And there's no like randomness. It's not like, oh man, the stream gets attacked, you know, once every 3 days by, you know, a guy spamming Viewbots or whatnot. It's like, no, the channel is online, and then in 15 seconds, or not 15, but 15 minutes, you know, it's up to 600 viewers. You either have the most dedicated stalker in the world,
Right.
whose form of briefing is helping you immensely, or, you know, there's another conclusion to be drawn there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'll leave it at that. But
Right.
it's very, suspending your belief on that can be difficult.
I mean, it's and a lot of things that that actually and from a personal note, I mean, it's the same thing as like fake Twitter followers. At one
Absolutely.
point,
Oh, absolutely.
one of my friends was joking. It was like, ha ha ha, I'm going to go buy you 2,000 followers. And I looked at him dead square in the eye. I go, I'm not even kidding you. If you do that, you will ruin any type of reputation that I have built in the past couple of years. Now, granted, I only have 700 followers,
It sucks.
but
Kevin, you've earned them, sir. Not only.
it's like and even, I mean, all right, I'm going to give both sides. I'm going to be as non-biased as possible, even if it's not the person doing it, even if it's not Icebox doing it to himself. If it is a friend, it is hurting Icebox's reputation more than it's doing anything else.
Yep.
And it brings a lot of people to, so the other thing that I do want to think about it is that it does bring people to Heroes of the Storm, because Heroes of the Storm's channel is way up there. Unfortunately, it only brings them to see that there's one person who's got 2,000 viewers and then a whole bunch who don't. So I'm not really, you know, I feel like it hurts a lot, but and on the other hand, it does get more eyes on Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sort of a mixed bag. I mean, you know, without going into that, you know, a stream specifically or whatnot, but you also have the issue is that if a stream is up there when it normally wouldn't be above other streams that have gone there, getting other streams that generally have to get up there via, you know, providing high quality content, everything else, and that. If that stream isn't up to the same caliber of other streams, then it also has the potential of driving people away. So that's sort of the counter is that they go, oh, what is this Heroes of the Storm game? And then they view the stream, and then if it's, you know, I'm not saying one way or another, but if it is a stream that's not as high quality compared to the other streams and it's up there legitimately, then you sort of have a problem that people might get a wrong impression and then not come back to the game. So
Yeah.
that's sort of a problem.
I don't know if that's a huge thing to have to worry about, but I mean, I see your point. But yeah, it's just like Kev said, like, you can really ruin your reputation. I remember that happened to Sundance. Sundance is the CEO of MLG, and somebody bought him like a ridiculous number of Twitter followers, and like, he actually deleted his Twitter at one point because it was like such a like big issue, because he was just being griefed essentially, and all these people started flaming him like, oh my god, I can't believe you're buying followers, like what is this, blah blah blah. And you know, he's the CEO of an organization, and at that point it looks bad for MLG as a whole. So yeah, I don't really know what the entire situation is, but it's a topic that's happening within our community.
It's not just this topic. It's a very large topic. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are bringing it up absolutely everywhere. I'm seeing it in Skype chats from like low to high. I'm seeing it in Reddit, and that's why I think we wanted to address it, is that, you know, there are good and bad things about it.
Yeah.
It's definitely happening. He hasn't admitted that he's done it himself, and that's what I'm saying is, you know, it's possible. It's just I mean, you get Twitter notifications on your phone. It could be simply as somebody's looking at their phone, sees Icebox is live, hits a button, and there's Viewbotting. Who the hell knows what's going on behind the scenes, whose intentions are what, etc. But the thing is, it's happening, and it does damage, but it also helps a little bit, at least.
Very true.
I don't know. It's a tough topic. Anybody else have any other thoughts on Viewbotting?
Yeah.
I mean, again, the reason it's just not insta-banned and the reason why it's always a dangerous topic to dance around is there's so many situations where, like, oh, this guy was hacking in StarCraft 2. Boom.
Yeah.
For the rest of their life, they are branded as a hacker, whether they hack it or not. Oh, this guy bought Twitter followers. Branded. Everyone who remembers that is always gonna be like, oh, that's that guy that bought Twitter followers. So it's always something you want to dance around carefully, and that's why unless you can get the physical proof, unless you're 100% sure, you just have to be very careful with it because it can ruin innocent people's careers, and it's very dangerous.
I mean, yeah, if he's not buying them, sorry, man, we're not trying to put you on blast, but regardless of whether or not you're buying them, there are definitely Viewbotters. Like, it's a thing that's happening.
Well, the hope in the long term. I mean, so there's two things. As far as Heroes specifically goes, there's a Twitch-related solution, which hopefully would hit all of Twitch and be awesome. And then there's a Heroes-related solution. So the Twitch-related solution is that, hopefully at some point Twitch, goes to some sort of captcha system or just something. There's a variety of methods you could take that might make it ever so slightly less user-friendly, which is probably the part they want to avoid at all costs. But a very minor hit that could pretty much stop the Viewbotting stuff, or at least significantly hurt it. And then there's also admin type actions you can take, not like banning a channel, but if you identify, say, a channel's getting hit, then maybe put it down on the stream list instead of putting it in the top spot type of deal. Not even taking it off the listing, but putting it down. There's stuff like that could theoretically be done to help combat it. And then from the Heroes node as a whole, in the end, once tournaments really kick off, once ranked gets in, and otherwise, it's, the streams that deserve to be on the top are going to have a lot more firepower that come in terms of advertising a stream and saying, hey, I'm doing this because, as far as StarCraft 2 goes, if you're making StarCraft 2 stream, it helps you could say, Grandmaster, MLG champion, so on and so forth. But for Heroes, the stuff is still in its infancy, so you can't really put that on your stream at the moment.
You mean Grandmaster MLG 4 360 no scope champion, right?
Exactly.
You messed up the title there, jeez. Well, that's something that's happening. I think we talked about it enough. Hopefully it gets resolved, whatever it is. Hopefully it gets resolved before long because it happens on every single game. It's not a Heroes thing. It happens on Hearthstone. It happens. Some people buy them themselves. Some people have them bought for them. We don't know the situation. We're not trying to point fingers at anyone. It's just like this is something that is happening.
The meta.
This is the news. This is the news. This is what's going on in the community. This is a discussion that we see in the various Heroes of the Storm Skype channels that exist and various chat channels within the game. Viewbotting. So we had to bring it up. Let's just hope that Twitch, just kind of tries to kill off Viewbotting because it's a problem on the entire website. Like there's a stat like I don't know what the entire percentage is, but there's like X number of viewers is fake on Twitch, and that really just makes stats look. I mean, even for like esports, like when we're trying to like sell esports numbers to sponsors and stuff, that dilutes all of that. Like it just, how much credibility is there if like 30% of the traffic's actually just bots on the entire website? So, I don't know. Final thoughts, or we're moving on?
We've already beaten this to death.
Yeah, there's only so much.
Yeah, I think arguably there's a bit too much time spent on it already.
Yeah, you're right.
I think all that was needed to be said was said.
Absolutely. So, all right, ZPs. Well, once again, thank you for coming on. Again, people can find your Twitch channel and your Twitter. You already plugged that, so if you missed that, give it one more
last
time.
thing. One last thing to plug. I know Zoe has it, but I think when you guys go on break, do not forget the Cormac remix.
Yes. We're not taking a break tonight. We are cruising on through, moving on into Kubi's questions because the viewers.
We're skipping Kubi's questions.
Hollowness, I'm sorry, Hollowness. You asked me 30 times.
Hollowness wants Kubi's questions so bad,
No. See, this is Kubi questions gating. Basically, by not actually giving people Kubi's questions, they have to keep coming back to our show. We have just proven that Blizzard's system actually works.
Damn, we want to do it, but it's already been 2 hours, and we have a policy where we're not supposed to go over 2 hours. And Kubi, I can tell he's beat. He's like,
I do want to tackle a couple of questions that did pop up in the Reddit thread.
Well,
because I don't want our fans to think that we ignore them.
ZP, you want to stick around for these?
Actually, I think the team's probably irritated enough for missing out on the game.
Thank you so much for being on,
thank you for inviting me. It was fun.
Thank you, ZP. Love you.
Hopefully be on again sometime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. Take care.
Yep, take it easy.
Bye.
All right, so my first question is no questions. Just want to say thanks for getting the podcast out. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I read that one. Anyway,
Shut up. You are the worst, Corey.
we do have a couple of questions. First question is: there are very few people streaming Heart of the Swarm. This is actually kind of ties in with
Heart
our
of the
Viewbotting.
Swarm.
Wow, Heart of the Swarm.
Kevin.
Not many watching it. Do you think this bodes poorly for the game, or is that limited to alpha is hurting the game? That it's limited to alpha is hurting the game. Possible reasons being no ranked play. Blah 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 blah. Do we think that because I mean the game has been around for a very long time. Basically, more and more people are playing it, but stream numbers are still somewhat low. Arguably, this question comes from Kelmart as well.
It's going to sound weird to say, but for how polished this game looks, it is very bare bones.
Yep.
There's very little things you can do inside of it. For the top teams to scrim, they have to do a jank way to where it's just really it's inconvenient.
Yo,
Stop it, Jake.
We don't got Koopy's questions, but we got Koopy's kitty. Continue.
But MOBAs have always been like this. Like StarCraft 2, it was unique in the sense that a lot of people watched it who didn't play. It had a huge viewer base that just kind of watched to watch it. MOBAs have never been that way. League of Legends has, I forget their active player base, but compared to their active player base to their viewer base, it's so much smaller. And the same with Dota. The active player base to the viewer base is much smaller than the player base. Once this game becomes an open beta and goes into launch, that's just how MOBAs have always been. The amount of people playing, you don't want to watch a MOBA you don't play. You can't understand it. But StarCraft, you can understand that without playing it, just because it's simpler. You can understand, well, not simpler in that aspect, but it's simpler to watch. It's easier to be able to understand, like, oh, this happened because he did this. Whereas MOBA, there's so much going into each specific hero and developing them. It's harder to understand without playing it. So that's just kind of the constant trend with MOBAs as far as a viewership in esports trend.
Yeah, I mean, look at League of Legends. They have how many billions of people playing the game? I think it's actually like 16 million or 23 million,
right.
Something ridiculous. But their numbers are like 30,000 for the biggest pros in the streaming community. You look at that as a percentage of the actual active player base. That's actually pretty small.
Now,
compared to something like StarCraft 2, which actually has pretty higher participation, or did for at least a while. Now it's kind of starting to teeter off. And I think Heroes of the Storm will follow more of a League of Legends type viewer percentage.
it's a hard game to watch if you don't know what's going on, because it's a team-based game with maps with unique objectives. Like, if you don't understand the game fully, it's just like, what the hell am I watching? Like, Uther run around and he's a lumberjack? Like, this is stupid. But a lot of people like to make the comparison to Hearthstone. Now, people say, why was Hearthstone stream numbers... Jesus, mute your mic. Oh my god. In control in the stream today, guys. If you guys don't watch State of the Game or watch back in the day, In Control, like, to spam his keyboard like that. So, anyway, so a lot of people say, hey, why did Hearthstone have such strong stream numbers when it was early? Well, again, Hearthstone is the complete opposite. It's very simple to understand. It's a card game. The streamer can say, hey, this is happening, this, that. And at the same time, that's when they were all being like, oh, I got beta keys. Come in my stream and I'll give out beta keys. And everybody was watching stream for beta keys. And it created a ton of, like, viral hype to get those keys. Those keys would then get sold on eBay. That created this whole big controversy, and it created a lot of bad rep and PR for Blizzard, which is why they've switched to this alpha. Your account gets invited system. There is no physical key that you enter, so you cannot give them away. So, like, I think it's better the way it is now.
Absolutely.
But that's kind of why Hearthstone had, like, such a strong, like, just ridiculously fast start. It just blew up. The beta keys helped that a lot. But it's also such a simple game to watch as a viewer and just learn deck strategies. Like, all right, I want to steal this guy's deck list or whatever. Heroes is not that.
Kubi.
Too true. Too true, all of it. That was exactly what Jared was saying, was pretty much what I was going to jump at, but got it covered.
Cool.
Okay,
Kevin?
and then quick question.
Quick question.
Quick.
Okay.
From Scalarian, his question is, if you were to make a top 3 heroes to carry on solo queue, Who would they be? He actually says, what would they be, and what artifacts do you run? And then he says, "Aha, scared you, didn't I?" Anyway, no artifacts. They belong in a museum. But yeah, so guys, just quickly, what are your top 3 heroes that you play in solo queue? Let's start off with you, Jake.
Top 3 heroes I play in solo queue. Number 1 is Zagara. I think she's super fun in solo queue. I just like to do my own thing.
It's a quick question, Jake.
All right.
Just listen to your heroes.
Wait. Was it top 3 like we play, or top 3 we think are the best solo queues?
Top 3 that you play.
Oh, okay.
Zagara, Rhaegar, and solo queue. I rock a lot of Murky.
God, you're boring.
Zoya?
I'm just kidding. I play Murky a lot too, and so I'd say Artho, Witch Doctor, and I've been playing a lot of Tyrande as of right now.
I would never solo queue with her.
Yeah,
Dude, I just love the new Shadow Sock. It's so
it's
good.
great it's great in comps, but it's so bad in solo queue.
It's more of like I have fun doing it than like it's not. Yeah, I agree. She's not the ideal, but I think just to quickly make this last a little bit longer, Arthas is like one of the best solo queue heroes. He's just so good on his own. You can do so much for your team with him.
Very solid.
And then the Zebo for life.
And then Kubi?
Usually it's Sonya, Hammer, Stitches, some combination of that. But I also think playing Nova is a lot of fun in solo queue. Just because it's like you just go up and eliminate people. It's like, that has a direct effect, even if my team is terrible at coordinating. So that can be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's my pick.
Cool. Kevo?
Yeah.
So I think we all know my 3.
Dibbles.
Diablo is if I lost and I'm like, all right, that's it, it's go time. I go back as Diablo. For a while, I was using Firestorm, but I got yelled at by a lot of people, so now I don't use Firestorm anymore.
I was there for one of those. That was brutal.
The other night when we played a couple known players.
Couple people, yeah.
We might have beat them. Firestorm might have helped a little bit.
Well, we really shouldn't have. We really, really shouldn't have. Yeah. Firestorm's kind of broken strong right now. So I use Diablo a lot. I just love throwing people around. EQing people into turrets, etc. Tychus and Tyrael. Tychus, that Odin. Tyrael for the skirt stick.
I hate to do this, but I want to go back. Jake, I love the new Murky so much. He's so much fun.
Yeah.
Octograb is so awesome, right? It's
called
just
wow. I'm not gonna make any more Murky sounds. I made one. That's enough. Yeah, no, he's a lot of fun. I liked him back in the push days just because he was the most obnoxious thing ever. But now he's just so fun. So you don't have to worry about just suicide on people's faces. He's just like when I'm just like I just want to play really dumb and get away with it. I just play Murky. Got to do my specialist queue, Murky. So all right, any other questions, Kev? Because we are.
The only question is actually not a question at all. Somebody at the very beginning of our show named Bradifer said it was his birthday today, so I just wanted to say
birthday, Bradifer!
Happy birthday! Yo, wait.
I just had a birthday myself, so I'm all akin to those first week August birthdays,
right? Me and Corey had birthdays not long ago too, so.
Yeah, but nobody cares about you. Only me and Bradifer.
Wait.
Fine. Bradifer gets all the hype, not Kevin. Follow Bradifer on Twitter, not Sham2. End the show, Jake. End the show.
Have you seen my fairy dragon, Zoya?
I have not. Oh my god.
There's only 2,000 of this one in the world.
I'm gonna set that one on fire.
Oh my god! Stay out of my apartment.
999.
That thing's legit.
Stay out of my apartment. It's tail coils. Look at this.
Longest show ever, correct?
Longest show to date.
No.
Maybe.
I don't think it was actually.
Kubi's like, I know the exact longest show.
I'm upset with you with the Brightwing plugs.
The Brightwing plugs. All right, shout outs. Let's start in the bottom right corner with Shammy Bam.
Okay. No. Okay. So you can follow me on Twitter at SCHAMTOO. That's Sham2. But I also I'm trying to freaking find the link. I'm running free week again this week. Last week was Booty Butt Cheeks.
Last I saw.
Yeah, it was Nazebo, so I gotta get up on my Nazebo game. I definitely have his talents unlocked, but It's going to be an interesting game because I don't play a ton of Nazebo, but I can at
It's
least
a lot of fun. I'll tell you that much.
I'm going
can
to
play
be watching that one,
confidently,
Kev.
and I can
I'm
Nazebo with the mediocre of them, not the best. For sure. So guys, I'm going to put this in chat right now. It's a straw poll for who I'm going to be playing this week. So please do me the favor, go in there and vote for who you want me to do. I'm going to be recording it tomorrow at Wednesday, which is Wednesday, and then putting it live Wednesday night for Free Week. So if you guys don't know what Free Week is, you can go to youtube.com/sham2 and check it out. It's my series where I play as one of the heroes who is free for that rotational week. And I give you tips on how to play Heroes of the Storm better, as well as more so focusing on that hero. So you can have somebody you can play for that week and have like a good talent build and how to play them, which might expand who you play as well as maybe you're going to buy that hero from now on. So that's what I do. So do me the favor, go on there, vote for who you want to see, and I'll play that hero. I've been on a warrior streak because last week they voted for Tyrael, even though I did Diablo the week before. So yeah, so that's my thing. That's it for me.
This is torn, man.
It's close.
Straw poll. We're gonna give the viewers how torn this is. Look at that.
Yeah,
Get on that straw poll and vote.
I want to point out how sick that is, though, Kev. That many people voted.
Yeah, 68 votes.
What a guy.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
Oh, I'm also 3 subscribers away from getting 200 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So if you're listening right now, do me the favor and go to youtube.com/sham2 and subscribe because I want to hit 200 and have me. SCHAMTOO.
Schmatmoo.
Schmatmoo.
Koobles.
Hey!
How's your cat? How's your cat?
Didn't see there. Cat's doing pretty good.
Kooby's,
Shout out to the kitty cat.
Kooby's kitty has been disrupted.
Kooby's kitty. Yeah, she was probably taking a nap. Not happy now. Anyway, all right.
When are you gonna start streaming?
You know, I need someone. Someone needs to like hold me to this. I downloaded OBS, so I'm like kind of like halfway there, you know. But like someone needs to really get on my case with that. So that should be soon. All right, Jake. Yeah,
all right. I'll walk you through it.
All right, good. I'm very technologically not.
We're gonna put Kooby's question at the start of the show.
Wow,
next
the
week.
honor. Yes, I was going to say sorry
Next
to
week.
all the viewers who are hoping to get some Kooby's questions this week. This one is like relevant more than ever now with this.
Let's just do an episode, 2 hours of Kooby's questions. You have to prepare.
You guys know.
2 hours of content.
No, see, you guys wouldn't actually be like, you guys don't have the stamina for that. I got like boom, 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 and you guys would be like, no, stop, please, I can't handle this. Too many questions.
Twitter.com/Kooby's questions. I hope that's actually a thing. Someone make this.
Maybe it will be soon.
I'm clicking on this. Doesn't exist. Damn it.
No, I got hyped too.
It would be a really good Twitter too, like just asking like super in-depth meta questions about Heroes of the Storm and see. Maybe that's where we offset Kooby's questions.
All right, 2 hours. Yeah, Koobs,
maybe.
Yeah, let's go. Shout outs. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Follow him on Twitter at Omega Black Mage.
I already said that, didn't I? Already say that?
Well, I said it again because I didn't hear you say it. Zoya, welcome home once again. Like we said, you are now back on the show.
You know, like for the first like 3 weeks we did the show, like all we would talk about, like I can't wait for the next episode, and then you know we kind of got used to it, and then after being away for 4 whole episodes, man, I have missed Town Hall, so it's good to be back. You guys can follow me at IBDZoya on Twitter. I've potentially been in talks with a certain league of a host that was on earlier today that could potentially have me casting for them and potentially the near future. So keep an eye out for that kind of stuff, guys. Follow IVD Gaming. That's my team. Puck is just a monster in StarCraft 2, so if you still follow StarCraft 2, you see Puck tearing it up in WCSNA all the time. And doing well at Rebel Battlegrounds, so IVD Gaming is awesome. If Witch Doctor wins Kevin's thing, I'm going to do a commentary over his video of why he makes mistakes. I'm just kidding. I won't do that.
I like that. No, go ahead. I'll give you the video, and you can do a commentary over my commentary.
That's mean. I like your videos. I just want to watch them and enjoy them. But yeah, that's it. Fall Town Hall show too. But Jake's going to say that anyway. So
Yep. Follow our Twitter at the top there, Town Hall Heroes. This is actually out of date, and I am a scrub.
Oh,
we have updated the Twitter to Town Hall Heroes because that is, in fact, the new branding our show will be going under. We are in the process of revamping the entire show. We showed a preview of one of the earlier mocks. I'm going to show you a preview right now of a future mock, or probably a near final mock. This is pretty much what the show's going to look like. People are saying, oh, it looks like Blood Dragon or whatever that game is called. I don't even know. But no, this is 80s inspired. We love it. We love the 80s. And, you know, this is basically what our show's going to be looking at. Me too, Kubi. Me too, Kubi. So, feel free to follow Zoya's channel, like you said. We do stream here. The VOD will be up on youtube.com/solidjakegg. I am back into creating a lot more content now that Comic-Con is over and a lot of the other projects I was doing is over. So you can find an array of things from gameplay to commentaries to heroes highlights, I call them. I got spotlights now. Whatever, and then I'm going to be casting matches pretty soon. I don't really know with who. Again, like Zoya said, I'm in talks with an organization myself about doing commentary with them, and so you're going to be seeing a lot of commentated heroes in the future. And feel free to hit me up on Twitter at SolidJakeGG with any questions, whatever you want to say, and just give me a follow. And I really want to emphasize my MLG channel. It's mlg.tv/SolidJake. Please give me a follow there. I'm going to be seeing a lot more Heroes content there, especially when it comes to tournaments. Like, I'm going to be streaming tournaments there, and holy crap, your kitty is so cute. I'm not thinking anymore. I'm looking at your kitty right now because cats are awesome and your cat looks happy. That does it for Town Hall episode number 25. Next week is a big chapter moving past the quarter mark of 100, episode 26. Hopefully we have our new beautiful show ready. Oh, your cat's going ham. new pretty show ready to roll. Thanks for watching, guys. You're the best. And take care.
Glorious!